I am the protagonist template. Invincible chapter 441 to 460. 441. Battle of Speed, a combo that surpasses the speed of sound. Stab, _. The turbulent thunder pierced the rain curtain, slashed through the void, and struck straight towards the position of the giant needlebee. Inspired by the powerful electrical attribute factor, this arena under the rain curtain is wrapped by the snake-like arc. Faced with this, the big stinger was not panicking. Sizzling beer tilde. The lance-like needle arm swayed, and with the sound of breaking wind, a cone of needles flew out, heading straight for the lacing thunderbolt. Boom. When the two sides came into contact, there was a sudden explosion, causing waves of energy smoke to rise from the arena. And just as the smoke rose, whoosh _. Pikachu almost followed the attack, and under the blessing of flash of lightning, he plunged straight into the smokescreen. Next second. 1, 2, 3. Countless Pikachu figures rushed out from the smoke that was gradually soaked by the rain curtain, mixed with bursts of thunder, overwhelming the sky towards the direction of the giant needlebee. To rush. It's really full of fighting spirit. Baizi couldn't help but chuckle. Speak up. Although the red 25 red Pikachu is not his strongest trump card, it is also one of his iconic elves. Although his personality is not as taciturn as Cheese, his fighting spirit is completely inherited from his master's style. Come on, / Sizzling beer tilde. Swooped up with the help of high-speed movement, amid the high-pitched sound of insects. The Pikachu smashed into a smokescreen one by one. Beep. Over the entire arena, with the continuous advance of the giant needlebees, layers of smoke completely obscured the arena. Front of the last Pikachu, in the field. Slash with arms. The smoke exploded in an instant, but it was still not Pikachu's real body. Sizzling beer tilde. The big needlebee stood still with its arms closed, and the smoke screen gradually covered its body, but it still did not move at all, just flapped its wings slightly, blowing the smoke around its side. Instantly. It seemed to sense something, faced the rain curtain, and suddenly looked up. Feng Feng. In the sound of the broken wind, a petite yellow figure wrapped in lightning, was heading in his direction, and plunged down. Using the smoke screen of the shadow clone, to make a surprise attack. Baizi thought about it. Just when the big stinger was slightly retreating and accumulating power, ready to use the Eye of the Heart, to attack the weak point. Looking at Baizi with Pikachu's long, twisting tail close to his back, his eyes suddenly flashed. Big needlebee, double needle. The voice hasn't fallen yet. Almost at the same time, Crimson's order also came, 1-1 Iron Tail. Immediately. Pikachu's falling body suddenly stopped, and in an instant, it was easy to turn around in midair, and the long tail with a layer of metallic color was like a whip-like copper, facing the direction of the giant needlebee. When under the hood. And at the same time. The large needlebee also moved upon hearing the sound, and with the blessing of the boiling insect-type energy, layers of blue-green flames suddenly rose from the needle arm on the right, waving its arm forward, facing the metal iron tail. Stab. The sound of metal symphony resounded, and sparks overflowed, and the rising momentum impact instantly swept away the smoke screen above the arena. Rain scattered everywhere. The giant needle wasp that was bathed in the strong wind stabbed its left arm obliquely like a javelin, and hit Pikachu's waist in front of him at a strange angle. A fatal needle stick. Pikachu's pupils shrank suddenly. In the nick of time. Substitute. The command sent by Crimson in time made it instinctively operate the energy level. Next second. After the giant stinger pierced Pikachu's body, a brand new Pikachu emerged from behind Pikachu, and leaned back. Swoosh. In the rain curtain, a cone-shaped energy passed by. Immediately after. Pikachu twisted his body again, instead of retreating, he advanced. A iron tail hit the big needlebee before it could retract to the needle arm. With the help of the reaction force, it swayed from midair to the ground and opened the distance. Everything happened in the electric light flint. Until now. The audience in the venue only reacted a little, and gave Pikachu and Big Needlebee warm cheers and applause. As if they were afraid of disturbing the two sides of the battle, the cheers and applause that sounded in the arena were short-lived and soon stopped. The audience once again devoted their attention to watching the battle among the temptation. It's almost time to end, Crimson. Baizi wiped the rain off his face and brushed his hair back. Tentative. Many people were stunned when they heard the words. Such a dazzling match is just a test. In the field, after Kai Hong silently raised her head to look at Baizi, a bright light flashed in her eyes. A flash of electric light, full power. Skin. The cry seemed to be elongated and fell behind him. His limbs were slightly bent, and Pikachu, whose body was bursting with lightning, entered a super high-speed situation in an instant and disappeared from everyone's sight. At the same time. Sizzling beer tilde. Always calm, it can even be said that the large Needlebee is indifferent, slightly sideways, swinging his arms. A layer of lavender energy, gauntlets, is generated from the needle arm at 360 hours. In an instant. Pikachu appeared behind the giant Needlebee like a teleportation, and the iron tail was like a knife, slashing straight down. Fortunately, it was on the gauntlet that was raised horizontally in the middle. Boom! The energy burst, and Pikachu quickly disappeared in place. On the opposite side, on the alloy wall of hundreds of meters, a small paw print appeared. Next second. Stab _. Accompanied by the thunder light scattered in the air, Pikachu reappeared in the vicinity of the giant Needlebee like a ghost, slashed the iron tail, and hit the giant Needlebee's flank directly. Call, _. The familiar scene was staged again. Pikachu, whose speed had completely exceeded the speed of sound and eyesight, was once again easily stopped by the gauntlets that were like reading first. Next. As Pikachu's speed became faster and faster, afterimages gradually disappeared around the giant stinger. Accompanied by the increasingly urgent sound of gold and iron symphony, the figure of the big Needlebee also seems to be sitting in slow motion, waving layers of gauntlets all over the body, surrounding all directions. The scene in front of him seemed to be evenly matched, but with a red face. But it's getting heavier. 442. Straight through the sky, destroying the sky. Because he is very clear, under such an increasingly high speed, it has gradually become an impossible thing to determine the location of the attack. Pikachu's attack. Now. Already basically relying on intuition. And this is thanks to the large Needlebee that has been staying in place and has not moved at all. But under such circumstances, the giant stinger can still accurately intercept, and every time it intercepts and collides, it can use the same energy level and strength to offset the skin with great precision. Kachu's attack, in order to maintain his figure, is unmoved. What this shows is far beyond the sharpness and precision of Pikachu. Just thinking about it makes my scalp tingle. Not to mention, it is different from the ease shown by the giant stinger bee. The Red Heart knows that with Pikachu's current super high-speed tactics, the pressure on his own body and the consumption of energy levels are really too great. If he continues to fight endlessly like this, I am afraid that the giant stinger has not yet fallen, and his Pikachu will consume himself to death. We must change other battle ideas, and now it seems that we can only try hard. Fortunately, I'm not unprepared. The red eyes flashed. The bottom of my heart. Without a hint of a wry smile. Being forced to the road of breaking the boat again, even with a red state of mind, it is inevitable that there will be some waves. The elves in Baizi's hands are really strong, like monsters. A slander. Next second. The crimson complexion was straight, he pressed the brim of his hat, and shouted, Pikachu. Chew. Pikachu understood, and in the long tail sound, Pikachu's figure suddenly jumped into the sky. And jumped up with Pikachu. Stab. Dow and Dow of lightning loomed from the inside of the arena, turned into countless thunder cobwebs, wrapped around the big Needlebee in layers, and turned into a complex network of lightning that spread throughout the arena. Under the wrapping layers of grid, the giant stinger is like a moth trapped in a cobweb. Wow! In the direction of the auditorium of the venue, bursts of exclamations suddenly rose. And at this moment, in the field, Baizi looked at the power grid that spread throughout the audience, a trace of clarity in his eyes, and looked at the Scarlet Road. This net was gradually compiled by Pikachu when he moved at super high speed. Did it come out? Although this sentence is a question sentence, Baizi's tone is full of affirmation, and it is obvious that Crimson's answer is not needed. At this time, Scarlet Red obviously didn't have the time to answer. Potential of pure fighting intent rose up and blessed Pikachu, who jumped into the air. Click _ Thunderbolt. Pika ___ Chew. Accompanied by Pikachu's passionate shouting, a thunder river poured down from the sky as if inspired. At the same time, Pikachu's whole body was gradually covered by a strong current rising from the body surface. The petite figure jumped up. With the skill of surfing, set foot on the pouring river of thunder, and rushed towards the giant needle bees, trapped in the countless power grids below. Composite skills, thunder plus volt attack. Yes, it is indeed an interlocking combo routine. Baizi's tone had obvious admiration, but the lightheartedness in it was also obvious. Immediately, the conversation turned. But, if only that. To be honest, Crimson, I'm disappointed. This sentence sounds really arrogant, but it is indeed a reflection of Baizi's true soul at this time. Because what he is looking at this moment is not the Crimson machine changes, not even the tactics, will, mind or strength. What he wants is whether Kai Hong can burst into a miraculous growth in the face of his all-round pressure. Simply put, it's a blast. And it's not just that kind of simple explosion, it's a power that can turn the tide of the battle and can be called a miracle. Stress, isn't it enough? Baizi's eyes flashed sharply. Immediately after. Big stinger. As soon as the voice started, circles of invisible air energy suddenly floated and rose around the body of the big needle bee, shocking the surrounding power grid into pieces. Extinction needle. Word by word. As Baizi's voice fell, the large needle bee slowly raised its head, and above the naturally sagging right needle arm, layers of blue-green energy were attached to the gauntlet. Take it easy, raise your arms and swing back. Then, stab, _ The needle arm shot out, and then, there was a delayed air-tearing sound. The blue-green energy was attached to the long needle wrapped in the gauntlet, and a bright lance was drawn in the air. Shadow, and then stabbed out. Sip. A dull sound echoed over the entire venue. 5 blue-green energy rings rose. 4 shadows. Although this one-shot killing needle did not have the effect of one-shot kill, it caused the highest damage, 5 times the damage. Sip _ Lightning, rain, air. Everything along the way was stabbed in an instant. The white energy impact mixed with the surging sky wind swept up, and instantly drowned Pikachu in the thunder's bag, and took it straight to the sky. The wind howled, the aftermath unabated. Boom, _ Following the merciless stab of the big needle bee, on the front, a circle of more surging air waves visible to the naked eye spread rapidly along the route drawn by the phantom of the spear. Howling went straight into the sky, piercing the black curtain through a huge gap that spreads thousands of meters. In an instant, the clouds cleared and the rain stopped. Sunlight scattered from the sky. In the field, everyone was stunned by the blow that pierced through the sky and destroyed the celestial phenomena. One by one, their mouths grew so big that they were about to stare out their eyes. All the reflections are a pair of unbelievable and doubtful color clips of life. The entire buy-in venue fell into silence, and needles could be heard. And then, the prompt tone of the system sounded in Baizi's ear at the right time. One by one. You commanded the big needle bee to defeat the red Pikachu. A little gain, battle experience +15, big needle bee experience value +10, high-speed movement proficiency +3, double needle proficiency +3, extinction acupuncture proficiency +5. 443. Present a wonderful ending, the fire-breathing dragon that retrieves the power of the ancients. As the system beep falls. Until now. Already completely unconscious, his eyes were white, and Pikachu, who was covered in bruises and bruises, fell from the sky far away. The large needlebee slowly fell to the ground with its twin needles trembling slightly. Obviously. The blow just now was equally heavy on it. It's hard work. Baizi took the big needlebee back to the Pokeball, and after saying a word of hard work, he took down the last player's Pokeball. Just let it go. The white light flickered, a long black dress swayed, and Sinead with short lavender hair appeared in the arena. The overly dazzling grace and beauty made everyone present unable to help focus their eyes, and subconsciously held their breath. Sana tilde. Sinead Duo moaned softly, and a warm telepathy came from the bottom of Baizi's heart. Baizi, let my concubine give you a wonderful ending. Hearing this, Baizi raised his slender eyebrows slightly. Quite a while. Kai said, then I will wait and see. And opposite. Crimson took back the unconscious Pikachu and released it. After a simple 360-degree inspection and some simple treatment, she was a little relieved. Pikachu's injuries were not light, but they were basically flesh wounds, and it doesn't hurt the muscles and bones, and it's good to cultivate for a while. Buzz one by one. At this moment, a Pokeball on his waist vibrated extremely fast. Crimson was stunned when she saw this. Next moment. Slap tilde. Who? With a light sound, the light flashed away, and an orange flying dragon with high wings appeared in front of the red podium, emitting a fierce dragon roar that shocked the world. ... It's a fire-breathing dragon. Excited by the losing streak, this arrogant dragon finally couldn't bear the humiliation he felt, and took the initiative to break free from the Pokeball, exuding pure and thick dragon power, instantly pressing towards the right the face of Sinead. Like an invisible airflow surging, the deterrence spreads like a ripple, and it spreads to the front of Sinead in an instant. Baizi is not allowed to talk too much. A purple on flashed in Sinead Duo's red eyes, and in an instant, the air was like a muffled thunder explosion, and the fierce wind rose and whistled, lifting Sinead Duo's dress to a corner, revealing 2 crystal jade feet. Not a little temper. Baizi raised his eyes. Immediately. Seemingly aware of the difference, Baizi's eyes stopped at the tyrannical scarlet vertical pupils of the fire-breathing dragon. Next second. Race, fire-breathing dragon. Attribute, fire-flying, awakening, dragon. Characteristics, fierce fire, power of the sun, Monty. When the weather is fine, the special attack will increase. In his eyes, the radiance that no one could see flashed again. Level, Champion Peak, level 79, 99 100ths. Potential, Tripolar God. Opening square bracket ellipsis closing square bracket. Status, Perfect, the dragon element is boiling. Introduction. The born racial king has power and attack caps that exceed his own racial value. The power of the dragon, which has now been successfully awakened, makes it enough to dig out some kind of distant hidden in the body. Ancient power, complete autonomous awakening. Self-awakening, the power of the dragon. Is this successfully activating the power hidden in the bloodline? Looking at the brand new panel of the fire-breathing dragon, crimson red, Baizi touched his chin thoughtfully. Subsequently, 2 familiar words suddenly popped out of his mind: Mega Evolution. Super Fire-Breathing Dragon X. Baizi's thoughts flew. With the appearance of Sinead and the fire-breathing dragon, the referee Caesar raised the flag abruptly after indicating the 2 sides. Start. The moment the voice fell. Roar tilde. The hot wind pressure condensed in front of the fire-breathing dragon's waving wings, like an invisible wall, pushing straight towards Sinead. Hot wind. CFED. Preemptive strike. Subsequently. At the moment when the fire-breathing dragon poured the scorching wind pressure on Shinado, the pure fighting potential was squeezed out from the crimson body, and went straight into the spray that spread its wings and closed its eyes in midair. Inside the dragon, nearly substantial dragon-type energy surged around the fire-breathing dragon. Woo! Accompanied by the sound of the increasingly high-pitched dragon's roar, at this moment, an unprecedented dazzling light burst out from the body of the fire-breathing dragon. This is the light of evolution. Many viewers who recognized the light of evolution were all stunned and their thoughts went blank. In the light, the fire-breathing dragon was rapidly changing. And until the light faded away, the familiar but deeply unfamiliar brand new, fire-breathing dragon, caused many people to fall into the brain downtime for a while. It can be seen that the overall appearance is similar, but the main skin color has completely changed to a deep gray-black, and the next to the tip of the tail is sky blue. Blue claw-like protrusions grow on the front and back of the shoulders. The bat-like wings seem to have been cut open and become sharp claws. The protrusions on the upper part of the wings also become sharp claws, and the horns on the head are even more sharp. Sharp, very sharp. The most important thing is that there are rising blue flames on both sides of the tail flame and the corner of the mouth. This is evolution, right? What's so special? Fire-breathing dragons can still evolve. Everyone looked in disbelief, but Baizi's eyes flashed a hint of clarity. Sure enough. Immediately. Breathing dragon roaring in the sky. Race. Super fire-breathing dragon X, Dragon Blood Awakening. Attribute. Fire dragon. Characteristic. Hard claw. The power of the move that touches the opponent will increase. Level. Quasi-God Elementary, Level 80, Dragon's Blood Awakening, X, Form Mega Transformation Temporary Increase. Potential, Tripolar God. 1. Status, Dragon's Blood Boiling. Champion Peak, Level 79, 99 100ths. Introduction, Preliminary Awakening of Dragon Blood, temporarily regaining the power of ancient times, and obtaining the fire-breathing Dragon X in the form of Mega. There is no doubt that the super fire-breathing Dragon X form obtained by the awakening of dragon blood made it break through the limit of the champion in a short time. By this step into the power of the quasi-god realm. The king of the race is really a unique perverted individual. Even though he already had some guesses in his heart, Baizi couldn't help but sigh when he saw this awakening power that was comparable to super evolution. And then, Baizi couldn't help but habitually raised his eyebrows and looked at the introduction column on the attribute panel. Since it's a preliminary awakening of the dragon's blood, temporarily, to get back the power of the ancients. Then, what about full awakening? 444. Ultra Evolution versus Ultra Evolution. In the field, flame-like dragon elements emerged from the surface of super fire-breathing Dragon X, constantly blasting in the air. The terrifying quasi-god level dragon power quickly spread to the audience. Even makes the atmosphere feel confused. At this moment, the whole world seemed to be quiet, the audience opened their eyes wide, their faces shocked, and they held their breath unconsciously, as if they were afraid of waking themselves up. Especially those who have been baptized by Baizi's fancy style. But even so, witnessing the evolution of the fire-breathing dragon made everyone feel, I can't understand, but I'm shocked. Especially the Yulongdu within the observation. In terms of care. With his temperament, Chengfu is far superior to ordinary audiences. But as a trainer specializing in dragons and possessing the power of the dragon, Yulongdu sensed the strong fluctuations of dragon attributes in the fire-breathing dragon at the first time. It's not the dragon factor, but the dragon attribute fluctuation. Yulongdu knows what this means. This means, at this moment, the appearance has changed greatly, and this fire-breathing dragon, which has evolved again, exerts the attributes of dragon. Yulongdu does not know whether this is an individual mutation or a generalized group potential. However, if it is really the evolutionary potential of the fire-breathing dragon group itself. Yulongdu in the late stage of dragon cancer. Hot for a while. Damn you, Bo. Just when the excited Yulongdu couldn't help but ask Dr. Ogi's opinion on this matter. In the field, another mutation was caused. Super fire-breathing dragon X. It as if he had judged, smiled at the corners of his mouth. Facing the confused, curious, and thoughtful gazes he was attracted to, he calmly said. Awakened dragon. Blood, access to ancient genetic power. Indeed an excellent individual. But Baizi and Shinado, who was supporting the lavender shield in the arena, looked at each other and smiled. This miraculous power is not unique to you, but also to your fire-breathing dragon. Light gradually appeared on Shinado's body. The stage has been set up. Let me wear armor for you and present me with this final victory. Mega evolution. The voice fell. Then. Sha tilde nai. A melodious long chant with awe-inspiring fighting intent came out, and in an instant, the light around Shinado shone brightly. Then, the light faded. The brand new Shinado appeared in the venue. The fluffy long skirt was no longer there. The whole body was wrapped in a dark battle skirt similar to armor, with a cape and hem similar to the shoulders and waist. It is a material combination. Above the head, there is a circle of headbands in the shape of an inverted trident. Under this layer of cold and solemn upper body armor, there are two slender and white legs that are exposed. Compare with that. In the ferocious pitch-black gauntlet, two chain spears with similar shapes were held on the left and right, exuding a purple-red halo. From the appearance alone, there is a fatal crisis and a sense of charm. Awe-inspiring. Like a flower of blood blooming on the battlefield. Super Shinado X. At this moment, the entire venue seemed to be frozen in time and space, and everyone froze in place. The brain shook violently, but they couldn't react. Numb. Shinado has also evolved. The entire venue fell into a long silence. The Crimson who faced this, also couldn't help the pupils shaking violently. But, being in the battlefield of the trainer, coupled with the precedent of a fire-breathing dragon, Kai Hong regained his calm in the first time. Next second. One by one dragon claw. It is not certain that the release of Shinado has also caused attribute changes in a short evolution, like its own fire-breathing dragon. Therefore, this system can maximize the use of the close body characteristics. Hard Claw, Dragon Claw, is the best option. And with a Crimson Order. Ask for flowers. Roar tilde. The mid-air super fire-breathing dragon X shook its wings, and the turbulent dragon elements quickly condensed and combined, turning into two bright green energy claws attached to the claws. The moment crossed the half-court, and burst into the burst of wind. Claw. Hit the top door of Shinado. Shinade tilde. In the face of the fierce dragon beast attack, Shinado did not show weakness, and his delicate face suddenly showed a ferocious smile. The palms are spread out, and the mind power spear with the red-black electric light is wrapped around the palm of the hand. Afterwards, instead of retreating, he advanced, his body suddenly bent down, catapulted out like a female leopard, and rushed forward like a streamer. Waist twist. Dragon claw, without any defense at all, and staggered a pair of spears forward, stabbing towards the neck and shoulder socket of super fire-breathing dragon X respectively. Roar tilde. The face of this obvious, life-defying blow, the tyranny in super fire-breathing dragon X's eyes became more intense. One hand stopped at the vital point of his neck, and he let the other gun stab into the shoulder socket. Dragon claw, that almost covered nearly half of Shinado's body, slashed down. Desperately, I am never afraid. However, just when the tip of the spear was about to pierce the shoulder and neck of the fire-breathing dragon, the dragon claw was also about to fall on Shinado's delicate body. Naive. The indifferent laughing sound first reached the fire-breathing dragon's ear. Next second, the two spears that stabbed at the shoulder and neck of the fire-breathing dragon suddenly made a strange mistake. Before stabbing the super fire-breathing Dragon X, the tips of the spears rubbed together and collided. Choke. Crisp sound. Immediately. Hum, underscore. Accompanied by the humming sound of air vibration, under the scarlet vertical pupils of the fire-breathing dragon suddenly tightened, the staggered tips of the spears suddenly exploded with two entangled purple shocks. If a skill reaches the realm of transformation, slaying the gods is also in the palm of your hand. 11 Spiritual Destroy, Gun Version, Mutual Detonation. ... Begging. 445. Interlude, Please call me Shinado Skaha, please ask. Boom. In the roaring humming sound, the energy turbulence that spread in an instant drowned the super fire-breathing Dragon X and Shinado. Under severe impact. The super fire-breathing Dragon X was the first to be blasted out of the smoke screen of rising energy, tumbling and flying upside down for more than 10 laps in midair, until it hit the energy shield of the safety device on the edge of the arena, which stopped the figure. Roar. There was a deep pained cry from the throat, and the fire-breathing dragon that slipped from the shield couldn't hide the pain on his face. Between its chest and abdomen, X-shaped wound that stretched across the shoulders and waist was constantly oozing blood, and the scales on it were almost half shattered. Obviously, this was smashed by Shinado's spirit. The generated energy turbulence, 373, is torn apart. As soon as Pooh fought, Super Charizard X was seriously injured. And compared to the embarrassment of Super Fire-breathing Dragon X. The other side. Shinado, who also jumped out of the smoke screen with the energy shock, seemed to be much more at ease. He jumped up with a vigorous posture, twisted his body from midair for 3.5 weeks, and drained most of his energy. After that, he landed lightly, took a few steps back, and stabilized his body. ... Both sides, decide between the top and bottom. This Shinado has great fighting skills. On the stand, Qinglu, who witnessed this scene, couldn't help but exclaimed in admiration. With his eyesight, he can naturally see that in the process of changing moves, Baizi's Shinado's grasp of timing and precision of skills are comprehensively displayed, just like art. Artwork like, flawless, perfect coping skills. ... Every move is wonderful. Yeah. At this moment, a familiar sound of harmony suddenly came from the side, from far to near. Qinglu raised her head and looked at the person who came. Windproof hat, red clothes and black pants, holding a pool cue. With his green memory, he recognized this uniquely dressed guy at the first time. The trainer in the Chengdu area, like him, is known as a monster newcomer player. The name should be akin. Yes, I'm Ah Jin, from Rui Town in the Chengdu area. Ah Jin introduced himself to himself and stretched out his palm in front of Qinglu. Qinglu glanced at the palm that was stretched out in front of him, still put his hands in his pockets, and had no plans to respond. Akin wasn't bothered either. After retracting his palm without embarrassment, he glanced at the two people in the fierce battle, and said to himself, You and Baizi are both from Junxin Town, so they should be friends. Qinglu still did not speak, but his attention was unconsciously attracted by the Baizi in Ah Jin's words. Before I was delayed because of some things. Speaking of which, Ah Jin touched the tip of his nose in embarrassment and continued. So, when I was rushing towards the arena, I passed by the studio in the west area. Inside, I happened to hear a man and a woman talking. The details are not clear, but it seems that they are eyeing something in Baizi's hand. Green turned back suddenly. In mind. In an instant, I thought of the mysterious person who had been eyeing him and the organization under his command from Baizi's mouth. The strength of those two guys shouldn't be weak. My main force is still training in the center of the elves, and I'm not sure that a single blow will hit the snake. Lead the way. Before Ah Jin's words were finished, Qinglu interrupted him. Then, he got up and walked towards the passage on the side. Reliable and resolute. Akin touched his chin. Hurry up. The indifferent voice came from afar, and Ah Jin quickly got up and chased after Qinglu. Come on, come on. There are 2 flowers, one on each side. Right now, on the field. After a brief confrontation, Crimson was the first to speak out. Hot Sand Earth. The Crimson Super Fire-breathing Dragon X is undoubtedly better at melee combat. However, just like watching the fire across the bank, Dongche Shanduo's perfect coping skills, Crimson is also very good at melee combat. It can be seen that after the evolution of Bai Zi, Shinado is different from ordinary ethnic groups, and is very good at close combat. Just by technique. With the sudden change of micro-manipulation, I am afraid that his fire-breathing dragon will be difficult to deal with perfectly in close combat. After all. At first, his fire-breathing dragon was not very familiar with this state. Second, after all, his fire-breathing dragon is good at fighting in the open and close battlefield, so close-fitting bunts at close range are not his strengths. But after this battle, it is still necessary to strengthen the shortage of fire-breathing dragons in this area. Get nourishment in the battle. The Crimson Complexion looked at the field calmly. Roar tilde. In the dull dragon roar, Super Fire-breathing Dragon X stabbed a pair of sharp claws into the ground. Golem, underscore. The ground was gradually spread by crimson, and bubbles appeared like boiling. Followed. Super Fire-breathing Dragon X's arms twitched, and a scorching sand curtain was violently lifted by the fire-breathing dragon. Under the wrapping of the ground attribute factor, it moved towards Shinado on the opposite side. Smashed over head to toe. The scorching crimson sand screen covered the sky like a tidal wave. But in the face of this, Shinado was not afraid. Fierce vindictive aura rose around him. Behind. 4.3 Bai Zi's eyes flashed a glimpse of clarity, and he immediately shouted, "Go on." Sana tilde. Shinado sent the pair of long spears in front of him, twisted his body while holding the tail of the spear, and drew a perfect arc from the air, slamming towards the void in front of him. Spirit Break Gun version Premium Strike. That athletic body. Vaguely, there seems to be a purple phantom that overlaps with Shinado. P.S. I checked the chapters last night and found that some chapters were not uploaded in full. If you read it at night, or if you have a sense of jumping, you can refresh the previously subscribed chapters and read them again. No need to spend any more tilde. 446. The second form, the fire-breathing dragon's counterattack. Hum, underscore. The air vibrated like a humming sound. Next second. Boom. The roars came one after another, and the sudden burst of purple light beams slammed upwards, clashing head-on with the sea of scorching sand that was like a tidal wave, making the entire venue transparent. The violent impact caused by the collision of quasi-god-level skills spread wildly. The energy shield created by the safety device at the edge of the venue was close to the withstand threshold, producing violent vibrations and alarm sounds. There was an exclamation from the audience. Fortunately. Buzzing. At the edge of the arena, 1, 2, 3. Counting its own, a total of 7 energy shields merged and shrouded, finally stabilizing the safety device. Call. The staff in charge of the safety device wiped away a cold sweat and said with a look of happiness, "Thanks to the replacement of the highest level safety device, otherwise, once an accident occurs, as a person in charge of this aspect, even if he is not responsible, I am afraid that he will not be able to eat and walk around. At least. This stable and comfortable iron rice bowl is lost." But, ellipsis. Through the surveillance, the staff looked at the aftermath of the battle that was completely out of specification on the screen, with disbelief on their faces. These are really 2 rookie trainers who have debuted for less than a year. Battle between. Monster. Do not mention the psychological activity of the staff member who doubts life. In the field. The energy smoke screen and impact generated by the skill impact swayed wildly in the arena. For a time, the entire arena was looming, making it difficult to see. And just under this hazy scene, an obvious sound of flapping wings suddenly exploded. Call, underscore. A little bit of red light emerged, and a scorching wind pressure was generated, pushing from west to east in the direction of Shinado. Hot wind. Another wide range of AoE skills. Sinead Duo frowned, simply inserted the two spears in his hand into the ground, and his palms closed together. A distorted mass of thought power spewed out from Sinead Duo's hand, facing the hot wind. Moves, strong spirit. Boom. Two sides collided again, and explosions, smoke screens, shocks also followed, generated. Continue. As if determined to fight a war of attrition, Kai Hong gave a concise attack command again. In an instant. Roar tilde. Super fire-breathing Dragon X took a deep breath, his abdomen swelled, and a cloud of blue fire gradually moved up from Super fire-breathing Dragon X's abdomen, passed through his neck, entered his throat, and was ejected in one mouthful. Boom, underscore. A light blue flame with a dark blue halo spewed out from the mouth of Super fire-breathing Dragon X, and rapidly expanded in the gradual advance, turning into a giant that almost filled the entire half of the court. A big fireball, smashing towards Sinead. Purgatory. This blow is obviously more surging. The scorching fire energy factor contained in it, even through the energy shield of the entire 7-layer safety device, gives a faint feeling of being licked by the tongue of fire at close range. It stands to reason that Sinead would have to use a more powerful blow to resist the purgatory of Super fire-breathing Dragon X. But this time, Sinead closed his eyes, exited from the X form, and returned to his original form. Subsequently, in the exclamations that sounded one after another in the audience, the familiar light of evolution blooms again. Sana tilde. Accompanied by the appearance of a bright double spiral color structure phantom, Sinead, whose whole body was shrouded in white light, suddenly raised his head and let out an ethereal coquettish cry. In an instant, the originally pure white light of evolution gradually turned into a splendid iridescent luster. And under the light of this more pair of eyes, Sinead's form gradually began to change amazingly. The slender figure was raised again, and the long skirt that was fluttering was stirred up in the light, and gradually turned into a palace robe similar to a bubble skirt. Soon, the light fades away. Accompanied by the fleeting double spiral phantom, the brand new Sinead appeared in front of everyone's eyes. The lilac curls are shorter, and the corners of the head that spread out around the ears look like wings, and the sides are decorated like a gorgeous crown. A black tuxedo dress wraps above the waist. Ying Ying grasped. The black long skirt split from the waist is fluffy. On top of it is a layer of white gowns like a wedding dress. And the two open orange-red plates on the chest are the symbol of Sinead's substantial spiritual liberation. It's so beautiful. Tuzi's eyes in the lounge couldn't help but raise a trace of splendor. If the previous X form was an awe-inspiring knight, well, this time, a luxurious and graceful princess. Super Sinead, please. Wow, underscore. Inside the venue, the uproar came one after another, and everyone was amazed at Sinead's new posture. However, although the audience, including those who followed the battle on the internet, were amazed, they were not as turbulent as before. It seems that they are used to it. Even in my heart, an inexplicable feeling arises for granted. Look back. In the field, covering the nearly half of 373 crashed down like a meteorite, and the distance from Sinead, which changed to Y form, was already less than 5 meters. In the face of such a blow, Sinead was holding the long skirt in one hand, while the other hand slowly raised, aiming at the purgatory fireball above. Next second. Underscore. The slender arms and palms wrapped in black gloves distorted the space, and violent thoughts suddenly emerged. Super power annihilation. With a loud voice, the purgatory fireball vanished like a flash of fireworks. And then, boom. Like a delayed explosion, the flames shot up from the top of Sinead's palm, rolling up a frantic airflow. Yet at this moment, roar. Roaring with determination to kill. Poof, underscore. X, which was supposed to be in the midair opposite, unexpectedly rushed out of the explosion above Sinead. The two claws attached to the metallic color staggered in front of him, and the streamer light on it swayed. Suddenly, towards Shinado, who was close at hand, he slashed down. Composite skill, double return metal claws. 447. Champion achievement, additional rewards. High, _. The fire-breathing dragon's blow was sudden enough, and at the same time as the sharp claws were swung down, there was even a sound of inhalation in the audience. An unforgettable moment. Shinado suddenly leaned back on the iron bridge, and folded his slender waist in half. While temporarily avoiding the claw attack, he opened his hands left and right, and grasped the two long thoughts that had been inserted into the surface before. The gun was pulled into his arms. Immediately. Choke, _. The two psychic spear teeth and blades staggered in a triangle with the ground clamped together, dangerously holding up the steel claws that continued to fall in the air. In an instant, the sound of metal symphony suddenly sounded. And then, click, click. Although it resisted the metal claws, with the continuous attack of the double repayment power, tiny cracks gradually spread on the psychic spear. Roar tilde. Super fire-breathing Dragon X gained power and was unforgiving. In his eyes, the tyrannical color became more and more intense, and a pair of muscles in his arms were knotted, and the divine power beyond the limit was vigorously released. Sip, _. The positions of the two psychic long spears collapsed to the ground, and the fine cracks almost covered the entire spear body, and gradually expanded. Finally. Sip tilde. A small purple fragment shattered from the blade of the psychic lance. Next second. Ka. Like a chain reaction, the reluctantly supported psychic spear shattered under the steel claws of super fire-breathing Dragon X. The steel claw continues downward. This time, Shinado directly relaxed his body and fell to the ground on his back, repeating the old trick in the distance he was fighting for again. A wave of arms. In an instant. Those fragments of the thought power spear that have not disappeared are like being driven, and they are swept away towards the super fire-breathing Dragon X that hits straight down. At the same time, these fragments all bloomed with dazzling white light. In the next second, it exploded. Moves, Spirit Break, Thousand Blades Impact. Wow tilde. At this moment, super fire-breathing Dragon X showed amazing flying skills, such as flying swallows returning to their nests, sudden stops, twists, turns. Draw a beautiful arc from the air, avoid the impact, and flying close to the side. The long tail that shone with metallic luster flicked, and slammed the side of Shinado, who was lying on the ground. One by one, iron tail. Sip _. The dull crash sounded, and Shinado was suddenly swept out without a word, hitting the alloy wall on the edge of the arena like a cannonball. Something feels wrong. This thought suddenly popped up in the fire-breathing dragon's mind. But the fighter plane is fleeting, and it is obviously not allowed to think about it carefully. At this moment, potential of the Crimson condensed several battles was instantly linked. Quote. Explosive flames. Woo, _. Following the command, Li Liang, the melodious dragon roar suddenly resounded through the venue. And at the same time, boom, _. A layer of illusory, smoke-like translucent orange-red flame, shrouded the whole body of the fire-breathing dragon. And along with the appearance of this layer of gauze, a layer of distorted light circles instantly surrounds, making the fire-breathing dragon's figure have a vague feeling. As the smoke gradually rose, the fire-breathing dragon's figure was completely distorted and blurred into an orange-red light and shadow. Next second, the fire-breathing dragon was like a jet plane that suddenly started, leaving a burning air tunnel in the air, rushing straight towards the edge of the arena. Approaching, waving his arms, and slamming straight towards the faintly visible Shinado in the smoke screen. Profound meaning, explosive flames. The flames blazed up in an instant. Until this moment, the terrifying high temperature came to the arena, the alarms of the safety devices came one after another, and the ground was instantly scorched by embers into a piece of scorched earth. The alloy wall, and even the energy shield on its upper edge, showed signs of melting. Boom, boom, boom. Several fire pillars erupted from the fire-breathing dragon's body layer upon layer, overlapping with all the flame energy brewing and accumulating in the fire-breathing dragon's body and detonating, engulfing everything in the vicinity. A huge wave of flames shot out, reflecting on the faces of everyone in the venue, spreading out like a sky curtain. It's not the first time I've seen it, but such a spectacular fire element profound truth still makes everyone feel a surge of excitement. Under the impact of the raging flames, everything in the arena was overturned. Moment. The flame is temporarily extinguished. X, which slowly climbed up from the pothole that was melted into a piece of magma, gradually exited the state of super-evolution from the light and returned to its original state. But the next moment. 1 inch minus 1 inch. The sharp feeling on his back rose from the back of his head, causing it to froze up immediately. Yu Guangzong. Shinado with a long skirt fluttering stood quietly in the void. In front of him, a long spear of thought power that was constantly twisting and bulging, unable to fully condense, was suspended, and the tip of the spear was facing the back of his head. Immediately, Shinado's special telepathy sounded. Thank you, your excellent participation. The arrogance contained in that elegant tone made the fire-breathing dragon suddenly furious. Can't wait for it to respond. Next second. The whole psychic spear disintegrated in an instant, and before the violent superpower that swelled out, it engulfed the fire-breathing dragon in an instant, and the body wrapped in it was bombarded again before it was melted. Nearly half of the alloy wall. Stop time. The splendid and dazzling rays of light flickered wildly, and a large number of super energy elements surged up like a wave, madly expanding and raging out, covering nearly half of the field on the Baizesai Haojiao side. All shrouded in 1. Profound meaning, super annihilation impact gun. Instantly. The dust is gone. The cut surface was extremely smooth, and the semicircular potholes that stretched half of the arena and the alloy walls of the eastern district were revealed to everyone's eyes. In the pothole, there is a fire-breathing dragon crawling on the ground and completely losing his will. Victory and defeat. You commanded Shinado to defeat the red fire-breathing dragon. A little gain. Battle experience plus 50, Shinado experience plus 20, teleportation proficiency plus 5, avatar proficiency plus 5, spirit breaking proficiency plus 8. Ding! You have completed the achievement task, the champion of the competition. Ding! Heaven rewards diligence, get additional rewards. 448. Family portrait, re-engraved card. The entire venue was silent, and everyone was still immersed in the sudden reversal of spikes. Caesar, the commentator and referee, took the lead in reacting. After driving the self-exploding magnetic monster, he quickly entered the field to determine the state of the fire-breathing dragon. As announced. The fire-breathing dragon lost its ability to fight, so the final winner of this competition is by Z player from Junshin Town in the Kanto region. The referee's announcement represents the complete end of this Silver City Alliance Conference championship battle. Champion, by Z. The audience in the venue woke up. At this moment, they could no longer restrain their excitement, all stood up and offered warm applause and cheers for the champion of this competition. This is an unprecedented event, and it is very likely that there will be no future. I believe that all of them will remember it for a lifetime. Did you win? In the observation room, Hyerna's beautiful eyes flowed, and she looked at the young man in the field who looked at Shinado and smiled. The originally calm sea of heart was inexplicably rippling. It is human nature to be strong. In the world of elves, powerful trainers are always the easiest to win the hearts of women. Sharona 373 feet's concern for Bai Z was originally just her concern for friends who share common interests and her appreciation of outstanding juniors. But after this game, I have witnessed Bai Z's almost bottomless strength, especially the one brought by different elves. The mystery in all of this made Hyerna, who loves archaeology, have a strong urge to find out. Not just Hyerna. All Baizi's confidants are infinitely delighted, and even Tuzi, who had been a little uneasy with him, had to admit the excellence of this flower-hearted radish. Hey, it's no wonder that Yayi is so fascinated that she can't find Bai. He is handsome, strong, and has this damn mystery. If he doesn't bother, he is indeed the perfect boyfriend. A pause. Next second. A blush rose from the girl's jade-like cheeks. Re-engraved card. On the podium, Baizi, who was waving his hands around him, was doing two things, focusing most of his attention on the colorful cards floating on the surface of the system, CFED. Re-engraving card, one time, can unconditionally make any living entity engrave a certain characteristic of another living entity. Note 1. The characteristics of the replica are completely random, and there is a possibility of failure. Note 2. The more similar the ability characteristics exist, the higher the success rate of re-engraving. The amount of information is a bit large. Baizi raised his eyebrows slightly. The ability of re-engraved card is easy to understand. In short, it is a one-time copy ability. As for what will be re-engraved, it is completely random. And, there is also the possibility of failure. However, since the label is life, it means that this reprint card can be used not only by elves, but also by all life of human beings. That is to say, he can totally use it for himself. After a little thought, Baizi did not take out this thing, but under the guidance of the staff, went to the backstage to prepare to participate in the award ceremony, the highlight of the game. But before that, as the champion, Baizi still needs to do some preparations before accepting the award. For example, the championship photo. Okay, Baizi, please raise your hand and put it on Shinedo's waist. Yes, yes. Then Philomero, please put your hand on Baizi's shoulder. Yes, put your head. According to the past. Perfect. Zoroark, isn't it? Can you step back a bit? You're blocking Shinedo a little bit like this. Words were finished. The next second, the photographer in charge of taking pictures changed greatly. Slap tilde. Looking at the photographer who was fleeing, Baizi slightly raised his forehead and stopped posing, his thoughts moved. Click underscore. The floating camera flickered, and a picture of a family reunion suddenly slipped from the bottom of the camera. Take photos and keep files, everything is over, and naturally the next thing is the grand awards ceremony. After some preparation. At 6 o'clock in the evening, amid the bright lights, Baizi took the lead, followed by Crimson and Green, who came to stand behind the podium. Swoosh. Sip. Underscore. Colorful fireworks bloom in the night sky, behind the brilliant light. Caesar, who once again acted as the host, held up the microphone. After the audience and all the contestants were quiet, he announced loudly. I announce that the first Silver Mountain Alliance conference has been successfully completed, and the next part is the most exciting part. Let's invite 3 players to the podium. La. In the packed auditorium, people celebrated the successful conclusion of this memorable event with fierce applause and cheers. And among them, the most popular is the cheers of the word, Baizi. I have to say that after this battle, Baizi has become a well-known star trainer. In the future, when I go out, I am afraid that I will be a fan of my younger brother and my younger sister. With such cheers, Baizi, Chihong and Qinglu stood on the podium in turn. And then, the appearance of Yulongdu, Kona and Sharona as the guests of honor raised the atmosphere of the venue to a higher level. This is also normal. No matter how good Baizi's performance was, after all, new trainers suddenly appeared, and it was not enough to completely overshadow these world-famous top trainers in a short period of time. Not to mention, here, both Hyerna and Kona are top beauties with different styles, and Yulongdu's popularity in Guandu is unparalleled by ordinary people. After 3 simple speeches. Next. It's the official awards ceremony. First is the ranking certificate for the competition, then the commemorative medal he wears, and then the next one is Baizi alone, a golden trophy in the shape of a pokeball in his hand, representing the honor of champion. After the awarding of the glory trophy and the like, the last thing to be done is the substantial reward for the first, second and third runner-up, which is also the highlight of this grand event. 113 elf eggs from the champion's parents, provided by Zyrna, Yulongdu and the Alliance respectively. P.S. Hyrna tilde. 449. Position 03 of the Alliance General Treasury, Liluo of the King of Races. 3 hostesses holding trays came forward, stood beside Yulongdu, Kona, and Sharona, respectively lifted the red cloth, and placed the 3. The elf egg suddenly appeared in front of everyone. The elf egg of the champion's parents. Looking at the 3 elf eggs with different shapes and patterns, Baizi's eyes flashed. Just as he was about to look at the data panels of these elf eggs, his eyes wandered, but he found that Sharona blinked at him the moment he touched his line of sight. What's the meaning? Baizi was stunned for a moment, and then he saw Sharona blinking her big Kazilan eyes, turning them up and down. She moved along the line of sight, and it happened to fall on the tray of Miss Manners beside her. This is signaling that she chooses her spirit egg. Baizi blinked. In fact, even if Sharona didn't say it, his original plan was to give priority to the one brought by the other party, the elf egg. And Baizi naturally wouldn't let her surprise, specially prepared for her by Hyrna, at the hands of others. However, speaking of which, he was still a little curious about the parents of the other 2 champions. Adhering to the idea of, save the most delicious food for last, after giving Sharona a clear look, Baizi first turned his attention to the one next to Kona. On the elf egg. In his opinion, although the alliance is the largest in size, the disputes of interests in it are also the most complicated. A reward that I don't know will be cheaper for that guy. I don't want to choose something too good to go on. But what Baizi didn't expect was that the elf egg of the champion's parents seemed to be surprisingly good. Item: Elf egg by Kira. Qualification: Champion. Introduction: Alliance General Library, the heirs of the ethnic hegemons in the natural area of position 03. The cubs born by the champion's parents are not necessarily champion-level potential cubs. Even if the paternal and maternal lines are both champion-level, it is very likely that they will give birth to offspring that are not champion-level potential. Estimated according to the big data of the Elf League. The birth probability of champion-level potential is only 12%, while the probability below it is 85%, and the remaining 3% includes mutations, flashes, and the existence of potential leaps above the champion. What's more, this is still a quasi-god with champion potential. If he has been cultivated well, he may not have touched the possibility of champion level. It can be seen that this time the Elf Alliance is really bleeding. And this so-called Union General Library, number 03 natural area, also made Baizi look sideways. Because if I remember correctly, before the finals, Dama Lanchi, the president of the Elf Alliance, had promised that the winner of this year's championship would be able to go to any scale in the general pool of the Alliance. Choose a treasure. I have to say, Baizi is looking forward to it. And the Elf League is still like that. The rest of the champion's parental elf Protein Z is naturally more curious. As his eyes wandered, he quickly turned his attention to the tray in the hands of Miss Manners beside Yulongdu. Item: Mini Dragon Elf Egg. Qualification: Champion. Introduction: Inside the Dragon Cave, the heir of one of the main fast dragons in the hands of the Overlord level fast dragon and Yulongdu. It turned out to be the heir of Yulongdu holding the main force. It's really worth it. Baizi raised his eyebrows slightly. And, from the introduction of this mini dragon fairy egg provided by Yulongdu, he got another piece of information. One of the main fast dragons. If you understand it literally, does it mean that there is more than one fast dragon in the main force of Yulongdu? Thoughts are surging. Baizi now feels more and more that he is close to the auspicious beast in the myth. Through the feelings of all things, he knows the appearance of all things in the world. It's not about your ability. Heart sigh. Finally, Baizetsai turned his gaze back to the surprise that Hyena had specially prepared for him. ... Ask for flowers. But at this sight, even with his temperament, he couldn't help taking a breath of cold air. Item: Reluo elf egg. Qualification: Sanji god. Introduction: Hyena holds the son of Lucario, one of the main forces, the natural king of the race. Another race king. Counting by Z's own giant golden monster, Lucamine's bear-wearing, red fire-breathing dragon, and the previously unmasked king of the tribe, Bangira, this is already the fifth known by Z. Only the king of the race. Although Lucamine's wearing bear doesn't seem to have fully redeemed its potential, but the king of evil eaters who dares to face the realm of God, he has also learned his own exclusive skill, the righteousness of killing. Quan, both in will and talent, are impeccable. Not to mention Z's giant golden monster and cheese fire-breathing dragon. The champion rank already has the characteristics of a quasi-god realm. It is no exaggeration to say that they are the white and red among the elves. They are proper ethnic monsters. Is there a choice now? Whether it's emotional or otherwise, he'd be an idiot if he didn't choose Reluo. Therefore, after Caesar on the podium finished talking about a bunch of things, and introduced the 3 elf eggs one by one, he opened his mouth to let Z, who is the champion, choose the elf eggs first. Z didn't hesitate at all, and went straight to Sharona. I'll choose Leroy. Speaking of which, I've always wanted a dog. Well, then congratulations. Sharona smiled like a flower. After handing over the culture vessel containing the Liluo elf egg to Z, the two shook hands. The Shanao champion didn't know what to think. What? Raised his eyebrows and chuckled, won't you hug me? Z heard this, how could he miss this kind of benefit? Sharona a big hug right after putting the elf egg and trophy back on the hostess tray. P.S. Happy Christmas Eve. Beg. 450. Mysterious man. Boy, you are still as sharp as ever. Please ask. I have to say that such a plump woman is comfortable to hold. Moment. Z, who felt a tingling pain in his waist, let go of his hand, and after receiving a glance from Sharona, who had a reddish face, he took back the elf egg and the trophy, and returned to the front of the podium. Middle. After Z was crimson, he chose the mini dragon, so Qinglu could only choose Kira. Looking at Qinglu's unconcerned appearance, Z guessed that he probably wouldn't cultivate it himself. I can understand it, after all, this overlaps with the ace in his hand. At 7 o'clock in the evening, the awards ceremony officially ended. After the closing ceremony, this unforgettable event officially came to an end. 373, for the treasures promised by the Elf Alliance to go to the general treasury of the Alliance. The time is agreed in 3 days. Location: Alliance headquarters. At that time, Yulongdu will personally accompany him and take him to the database of the Elf Alliance headquarters in the Quartz Plateau to conduct preliminary scale selection. Z is looking forward to this. After the audience left the venue in order, the entire Bayan Peak became lively again. The conference was introduced, but the commercial snack street at the venue was still open. It's getting late after all. Going down the mountain at this time is generally not very safe. One more. After the introduction of the conference, the contestants can also rest and play in this well-equipped place. Not to mention, after a fierce battle, many players' spirits have not fully recovered yet, and they still need to stay in Silver Mountain for a while. Speak up. Z heard from Dr. Damu before that the Elf Alliances in Guandu and Guandu intend to continue this year's competition. Probably prepare a staged annual sub-competition and 3-year general competition, and specially select Tianzhao from all over the world to gather in Baiyinshan to compete. Of course, there must be an idea to show strength and win over the geniuses from other regions. Z didn't pay much attention to this. The contest is over. Hearing that Sharona was going to rush back to Shanao overnight, he rushed to the back mountain immediately. Are you in such a hurry to go back? I was thinking of letting you taste the new desserts I've recently researched. At the landing pad in the back mountain, Baizi reached out and touched the 5-pointed star that bit the nose of Lu Shark, who was wearing a flying device on his back, and looked at the beautiful figure beside him. Looking at the fiercely biting Lu Shark, who responded to Baizi without any resistance, a smile flashed in Sharona's eyes, and then she frowned slightly and said, "There's no way, as the Shanao champion, I have to deal with it. There are a lot of things to do. This time I have been delayed in customs for so long, and a lot of things have been piled up that have not been dealt with. In that case, the championship is a chore." Baizi touched his chin and shrugged slightly. "Well then, remember to be careful on the road." He didn't hold back. In fact, Baizi, who had a stronger hunch, didn't really want Sharona to be involved in the next thing. However, Baizi's attitude obviously made the beauty in front of him somewhat dissatisfied. Jade cheeks suddenly bulged slightly, like an angry puffer fish, and said in a long voice, "Oh, I see *M. Ha ha tilde." Baizi couldn't help but stretched out his hand and poked Sharona's bulging cheek a little funny. Next second, seeing the cold eyes of the Shanao champion suddenly swept over, his heart was agitated. He quickly retracted his hand, and smirked. "By the way, I also have a gift for you." Saying that, he reached into his pocket and took out a small, delicately shaped object. The whole body is pink, like a gem carved out of some kind of gem, and on the circular base, is a pair of vivid men and women. Among them, the girl was holding an ice cream with only a little low shell left, and her face was astonished, while on the opposite side, the boy was muttering, with a little milk stain on the corner of his mouth, squinting, like savoring. "This is..." Sharona was slightly stunned. A flash of reminiscence flashed in her eyes. The scene when she and Baizi first met. "Thank you." The beautiful woman who smiled like a flower stretched out her hand to take it. "I like it very much." "Then why don't you give me a hug?" Baizi blinked slightly and stretched out his hand to the famous Shanao champion. "The so-called inch must be taken, and if you are not proactive enough to deal with a flower like Hyena, then, you guys, the relationship between them can never be broken. Of course, before that, you need to brush enough favorability. Otherwise..." Mocking the Shanao champion. "I'm afraid you don't know how to write dead words." Obviously, Sharona's affection for Baizi is not low. Therefore, after hearing this sentence, although he slashed Baizi several times, he still stepped forward and gave Baizi a shallow hug. This time, Baizi was not like before. Instead, he was very gentlemanly, wrapping Sharona's shoulders, and he took the initiative to back away. Sharona's beautiful eyes flowed, and I have to say that the young man in front of her had a really good grasp of proportions. Not only did she have a clear sense of being pursued, but she didn't seem eager for quick success at all. All in all, getting along with Baizi made her very comfortable. If the age of both parties. Sharona suddenly blushed, and under the moonlight, she was indescribably beautiful. But he didn't wait for Baizi to react. The other party jumped directly on the back of Lu Shark, and waved his hand as if fleeing. "I'll go first. If you are free, you can come to Shanao to find me." After saying this, Sharona's face seemed to be completely stained with blush. Next moment. Whoosh _. Just like a jet plane, with the surging airflow, in a blink of an eye, one person and one pet have disappeared under the night. Katakana middle. 4.3. Ah. Baizi raised his hand, then put it down helplessly, stared for a moment, then suddenly smiled. "It's unexpectedly innocent." "Forget it." Shaking his head, Baizi turned around and walked towards the venue. "Speaking of Qinglu, I seem to have something to do with me, and Li Lua's elf egg is also there." Step _. Baizi said that there was a sudden stop here, and his footsteps also stopped. And then, a hoarse vulture's voice accompanied by an astonishing chill came from behind him. "Boy, your senses are still as sharp as ever." 451. The ordinary messenger bird, the field of creation. Click. With the sound of the sound, a layer of fine frost immediately spread from the ground, and soon stretched to Bai Zi's feet. Bai Zi lowered his head slightly, looking at the frost that gradually adhered to the soles of his shoes. The light of thought power flashed away in his eyes. After shattering the frost, he suspended the floating ground a few inches, turned around at the same time, and turned his eyes to the direction of the sound. The first thing that catches the eye is the frost that almost covers the entire back mountain and the lawn. And on top of this piece of silver, under the hazy moonlight, in midair, a masked man shrouded in a black robe stood against the wind, his silver-white messy ponytail and black robe rattled, and at his feet was a seemingly unremarkable messenger bird. Masked man. Lu Bo. Bai Zi's heart froze, and he immediately moved Kang Xiang and Lai Kong's elf ball to his hands. But the next moment. 25. He found out. What arises in my heart is not heavy, nor is it fearful, but an indescribable feeling of excitement. It seems that I am also infected by the trainer's temperament. Bai Zi doesn't hate or reject this kind of mood. Although he has always been prudent and cautious, it is not a bad thing to occasionally indulge the trainer's natural challenging spirit. However, his eyes swept across the masquerade man, and he quickly turned his attention to the messenger bird at his feet. In the previous life, Pokemon fans once joked that Lu Bo's two main forces are enough to fight against the first-level gods, namely, the 100 full-level messenger bird and the 99-level mountain pig. And in fact, Bai Zi himself is also very curious. What kind of data panel will this seemingly ordinary messenger bird in front of him be, and how strong? Thinking of this, the unseen brilliance suddenly flashed from the bottom of Bai Zi's eyes. And the next second, columns of data are also printed in the eyes. Race, messenger bird. Attribute, ice flying. Characteristic, vitality. His own attack becomes higher, but the hit rate will decrease. Level, level 1 God Elementary, level 111, 0/100. Potential, quasi-God. HP, 45, attack, 55, defense, 44, special attack, 65, special defense, 45, speed, 75. Skills, gift, drilling, blizzard, frozen fist, flying, frozen wind, hail, ice cone, avalanche, frozen beam, divine bird onslaught, triple swirl. Genetic skills, boulders, cold and dry. Status, perfect. Power, extreme cold, ice element, creation level. Introduction. The world's strongest messenger bird, in response to the miraculous power of the master's mind, broke through the limit of potential one after another, and successfully used the law of ice to reach 100%, comprehend the power of ice power that transforms the creation level, extreme cold. P.S. In a short period of time, the power that is infinitely close to the field of creation can be erupted. It's really extraordinary. At the same time as Bai Zi sighed in his heart, he did not feel deeply the magical power of the elf world on the spiritual level. Bonds are indeed the eternal theme of this world. Potential limit is only the quasi-God level, not only by virtue of each other's fetters and the strength of the mind, he has raised his strength to the realm of a first-level God. He even fully comprehends the laws of the ice system, and even uses this to transform the power of the ice system at the creation level, extremely cold. Speaking of which, the word difference between authority and power seems to be two completely different things. According to the information collected by Bai Zi, if from champion to quasi-god, it is through the transformation of attribute energy to comprehend the power of the law, then by analogy, the gradual perfection of the power of the law is the direction of the path of God. Power, obtained by fully comprehending the power of the law and then transforming it, is probably one of the important conditions for entering the field of creation. Authority, possessed by his wind speed dog, in addition to playing an auxiliary role in comprehending the law. Bai Zi guessed that there may also be a pointing effect on the transformation direction of the power of power. Have to say, although Uncle Lu, who manipulated the masquerade man, was looking for trouble, before the battle, he had already gained a lot from Bai Zi. At least, he didn't know anything about the creation field. Next, let's try this so-called creation level. Extreme cold, power. What kind of boosting effect does it have on the messenger bird? Perhaps you can also take this opportunity to let Lai Kong sit on the road of the creation field and have a clear understanding. I have a decision in my mind. Bai Zi's expression immediately became certain, and while calmly dawdling on the starry sky ball with Lai Kongsi in his hand, the old god replied. So, that guy who is sneaking around in Yuhong City is you. I just happened to be passing by. For some unknown reason, Uncle Lu, who was disguised as a masked man, didn't seem to be in a hurry. Speaking of which, you don't seem to be surprised that I found you. What a surprise. Bai Zi spread out the two hands that were originally behind his back, shrugged his shoulders, and raised his cuffs directly. Hey, don't you just want these two legendary feathers in my hands? 2 inches. Uncle Lu also seemed to be taken aback by Bai Zi's single-handed approach. And at this moment, slap, underscore, roar tilde. One of the 2 elf balls suspended behind Bai Zi suddenly opened automatically, and as the rays of light flickered, the roar of a fierce dragon resounded on the top of the mountain. Immediately, the huge dragon body of the black flashing Li Kongzai suddenly climbed out from behind Bai Zi. Choke. Li Kongzai, who turned into a super-evolutionary form, did not hesitate at all. Just like a symphony of golden iron, his body suddenly straightened, and he shot straight in the direction of the masked man. Go. Yo underscore. The sound of breaking wind just sounded. Next moment, the straight green light confidently makes the masked man on the bird's back pass through the chest and abdomen. The finishing touch. 452. Reshiram A went up. Please ask. At the same time, step by step, countless people wearing silver-white uniforms and masks kept pouring out from all directions of the Silver Mountains, and gathered in the direction of the buy-in venue. Soon, he was in close contact with the audience and trainers in the venue. Who are you? Get out of the way. Damn, come on, King Nito. Ah. Help. Trainers and spectators who have not recovered their strength, please go to the venue for temporary shelter. Don't panic. The patrol team will arrive soon. The patrol team will arrive soon. Vigilance, scolding, fighting, crying, broadcasting. All kinds of riots came from the direction of the venue. The contestants who were caught by surprise were defeated by the overwhelming number of opponents. But soon, with the arrival of several temporary, monster, rookies and the arrival of the quick-responding patrol team, the scene was quickly brought under control. But there are simply too many members of these masked groups in uniform. And all of them are not afraid of death. For a while, the venue fell into a stalemate. Boom, 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 boom. It was like being on the verge of being on the battlefield in an instant. Director's room. What's the matter? Crimson, Qinglu, Ajin, and the 2 men and women who were trapped like caterpillars all felt the vibrations and riots that stretched throughout the venue in an instant. Ajin jumped up directly from the seat and pushed open the window of the director's room facing outside the venue. The plan has already begun. When the leader arrives, don't think about it for either of you. The woman named Garm sneered. Yes, the power of the leader is absolutely irresistible to you. The man with short black hair also said. But obviously, the 3 people in the house didn't want to pay attention to them. Because the 3 of them all heard a high-pitched dragon roar that brought them unprecedented pressure the moment Ah-jin opened the window. Immediately, a dazzling bright green flash was drawn in parallel from midair. This is, tilde. Akin looked suspicious. After Qinglu and Crimson looked at each other, he immediately gave an order. Hugh man, you must seal up the pokeballs of these 2 guys, and then go to the venue to help. Me and Kai are going over there to see what's going on. Good. Although the name Qinglu was very speechless, it was obviously not the time to be concerned about it. Ah-jin didn't hesitate at all, nodded, and went forward to conduct a body search. And just when Qinglu and Crimson were about to release the elves and rush in the direction of Baizi, Wu tilde. Accompanied by a melodious dragon roar, a white figure with a fiery red tail flashed past the window and headed towards the place where the dragon roar started. The red frowned slightly, while the green pupils shrank. Reshiram. Backward direction. Lai Kongzai directly gave a finishing touch to the masked man who wore a cool heart and bowed his head slightly. This decisiveness really has the style of a real new town. Between muttering, the body that was pierced began to rapidly condense and grow, and it recovered completely in the blink of an eye. Isn't the deity sitting in town? Baizi's eyes flashed, and after confirming this, he became even more confident. Although he has not yet experienced the combat power of this messenger bird, with his current Lai Kong C plus King Shang with his trump card in hand, Uncle Lu was not personally there. Relying on a messenger bird alone would never be his opponent. And just when he was about to instruct Lai Kong to sit down and have a good fight with the messenger bird, Baizi, Miss Ben is here to help you. A sweet voice came from not far away. With a faint glow of fire. Wu tilde. In the soft moan, a pure white elf that looks like a combination of a white bird and a western dragon with huge claws glides from the sky. Its whole body is covered with white sideburns, its eyes are blue, its head has long cloud-like hair, its face is like a wolf, and its neck has 2 rings of metallic luster. And the strip-shaped object at the tail that resembles an engine is releasing red flames at this time, just like the jet tail flame of a rocket. Sure enough, it's Reshiram. Baizi muttered to himself the name of the approaching elf. Subsequently, his eyes skipped the tuco on Reshiram's back, and the unseen brilliance flickered up and swept towards Reshiram. Open black lens bracket race. Reshiram close black lens bracket. Attribute, Dragon Fire. Characteristic, Turbo Flame exclusive. You can use moves against your opponent without being disturbed by the opponent's characteristics. Level, First Level God High Order, Level 117, 95 100ths. Potential, Level 1 God. HP, 100, Attack, 120, Defense, 100, Special Attack, 150, Special Defense, 120, Speed, 90. Exclusive Skills, Staggered Flame, Blue Flame. Skills, Primal Power, Battle Cry, Dragon Breath, Flaming Teeth, Splitting, Crushing, Supernatural Power, Dragon Wave, Jet Flame, Loud Sound, Big Character Pyroblast, Seal, Reverse Scale. Status, Poor, Lack of Energy Levels, Minor Injuries. Introduction. The real Dragon God, one of the 3 dragons of the unity of Taoism. According to legend, if human beings despise reality and indulge their desires, it will burn their kingdom with flames. At this time, the energy in the body the level is extremely exhausted, and the combat power is barely maintained at the boundary of the first level god. Lack of energy levels. Who sucked this? Baizi, who didn't know that his casual sentence was close to the truth, was about to remind Toko to be careful. Lahiram, let's go. Wu tilde. Following Tuzi's passionate command, Bailong held his head high. Immediately, a layer of crimson scorching flames swirled around, instantly wrapping the whole body, and slammed into the direction of the masked man and the messenger bird. Skills 11, Flash Charge. Boom. The crashing sound of the crash suddenly stirred up a burst of energy, Hao Jiao Hao, and the fire splashed all over the place. Next second. Whoosh _. A white figure flew upside down, and smashed towards the ground not far away in a whirl. At the critical moment, Baizi's eyes blazed with white light, and in the next second, a beautiful figure appeared. Instantly appeared in his arms. Eyes closed, it was Toko. And at the same time, the white dragon Reshiram, who was defeated by the messenger bird, fell heavily to the ground. The impact he carried immediately caused a small-scale earthquake, and the ground was also smashed into a huge circle-shaped potholes. Light. After a while, the smoke screen faded away. The messenger bird shook his head in a naive manner, and then turned his attention to Lai Kongxi again. Obviously, It didn't take Reshiram, who was knocked to the ground by himself with a head hammer in his eyes at all. P.S. Penetrating child tilde. 453. Energy level crushing, Sakaji's chaos. At this time, 2Z was completely stunned. She remembered the time when she excitedly rode the white dragon Reshiram and was about to show off her power and let Z take a good look at her power. Seemingly unremarkable messenger bird just hit her head in the face, smashing through the flame shield surrounding Reshiram, and slammed her with all his might. Reshiram fell to the ground. The whole process. She and Reshiram didn't even say they resisted, they didn't even react. But that's Reshiram. They are the legendary spirits that have been passed down in mythology since ancient times, the white dragon among the 3 dragons of the Tao, and one of the dragon gods who chase the truth. Even though she knew that Reshiram's state was not perfect, Tuko couldn't accept that she was so easily defeated by an unknown messenger bird all the time. Is it possible? This messenger bird is in the Gwandu area, or is it some unknown mythical beast? And just when 2Z was thinking about it, roar tilde. The sky, with a winding dragon body, was preparing to attack again, and the black flashing Lycong, who had a good fight with the messenger bird, dispelled the rising energy factors all over his body. It turned its attention to the pothole. Boom, underscore. A white figure mixed with red flames rushed out. White dragon Reshiram, who has always been known for his gentleness, how can he still see the relaxed expression on his face at this time? After confirming that 2Z is safe. Binocular. Chilling. It is also a high-ranking legend known as the true dragon god. Such a shameful fight, it is bound to return. Buzzing. As the wings swayed slowly, its tail, like an engine, emitted a high brightness flaming luster, dyeing the ends of the fluttering hairs on the back of the head red. The flames spread, and the surrounding temperature rose rapidly. Overclocking drive mode. And the next second. Woo tilde. Entering the overclocking drive mode, Reshiram held his slender neck high, ignoring the lack of energy levels in his body, frantically squeezing the remaining fire attribute energy factors, and turning into a ball of swirling turquoise fire in his mouth. Sudden spit. It turned into a blue flame wave in midair, and slammed away in the direction of the messenger bird. Blue flame. Goo. Aware of the attack, the messenger bird turned its eyes away, spread its wings, and the cold wind that instantly descended the air roared out towards Reshiram. The freezing wind. Blue flame, and frozen wind, meet head-on, fire and ice, heat and cold form to extremes, dividing the sky into 2 parts. Click, click. But soon, the water molecules in the air were quickly condensed, and the extremely cold wind pressure strongly suppressed the Qingyan. The colored flames disappeared layer by layer, advancing in the direction of Reshiram. Reshiram's expression darkened slightly, but he didn't hesitate, his body turned upside down, and while continuously exhaling blue flame, he wrapped him around, turning into a layer of blue flames surrounding his body. The white vortex at the tail rotates at high speed, shaking the air wall, and the strong red fire is gradually rendered into a blue color, spilling out. Subsequently, the entire dragon seemed to have turned into a twisted blue fireball, Reshiram, soaring into the sky with a rather arrogant attitude. After passing the frozen wind, it turned from top to bottom, towards the messenger. Birds attacked again, high temperature pressure, Qingyan. Oh. It seems that there is finally a little interest, and the masked man seems to convey something to the messenger bird silently. Next second. Underscore. The messenger bird under the masked man's feet turned into a cold ray of light and flew out. The last one came first, and passed by the side of Reshiram who was charging down. Cold and dry. Click, click. Reshiram, who was still wrapped in blue flames, was completely frozen by the astonishing chill that suddenly erupted from the messenger bird's body. Even on the surface of Reshiram's body inside the ice sculpture, the layer of flame is still lifelike, as if it was sealed in an instant. Ask for flowers. In midair, the ice cube containing Reshiram fell down, and the messenger bird had already lifted up the ice man made by Lubo again. Sip, underscore. Ice cubes fall to the ground. And the only result of Reshiram's all-out attack was the scorch mark on the tip of the messenger bird's left wing, which was blackened by the lingering firelight. Aside. Bai Zi, who saw Reshiram's defeat again, blinked slightly. Reshiram's blue flame is undoubtedly a high-level attribute energy above the qualitative change, but in the face of the ice attribute trick it restrains, it shows a tendency to overwhelm. Obviously, the ice energy level of the messenger bird is far higher than that of Reshiram. As this, the extremely cold ice. Looking at the power of the ice-type high-level attribute that can freeze even the exclusive flame of the upper-rank legend, Bai Zi suddenly had a bold idea in his heart. And right now. Reshiram. 2Z, who finally reacted, exclaimed and struggled to get up from Bai Zi's arms, threw the poke ball, released the fierce arrow eagle, and rode in the direction of Reshiram. Bai Zi did not stop. He glanced at the masked man and the messenger bird who were also unmoved, raised his eyebrows slightly, looked sideways at the cliff on the right, and chuckled. Could it be that the fearsome leader of the dark underground organization is a coward who only dares to peep in the dark? A moment of silence. Step on, step on. Accompanied by the stomping sound of crisp big-toed shoes, a middle-aged man with a black vulture with a big back and a dark suit walked out from behind a rock on the edge of the cliff. And beside him, a giant stinger bee slightly larger than the same clan is tensing up the insect body, watching the messenger bird quietly confronting in midair with incomparable vigilance, and Lai Kong sitting. Moonlight falls, revealing the man's sturdy face, as well as the crimson R mark on his left chest collar. Quote. Team Rocket, Sakagi. Begging. 454. The power of destruction. Not quite right, Lubo, please ask all. Good. This man who stumbled in between the battles is none other than the Rocket's leader, Sakagi, who suffered a double blow from the Alliance and Mewtwo not long ago and disappeared. And the seemingly inconspicuous giant stinger beside him is the strongest trump card of Sakagi, who is good at the profound meaning of the earth. The edge under the hidden silence is no weaker than Shinado in his X form. Maybe even stronger. Thinking of this, Bai Ziwei's blue eyes flashed a ray of brilliance that no one could see. In an instant, a series of data suddenly appeared in his eyes. Race, large needle bee. Attribute, insect poison. Characteristic, Sniper Monty. When hitting a vital point, the power of the skill will be enhanced. Level, Quasi-God, 373, Beginner level, level 80, 15/100. Potential, Quasi-God. HP, 65, Attack, 150, Defense, 40, Special Attack, 15, Special Defense, 80, Speed, 145. Skills, Double Needle, Peck, Anger, Random Attack, Chase Attack, Gas Gathering, Poison Attack, Poisonous Diamond, Highly Poisonous, High-Speed Movement, Missile Needle, Stalker, Malicious Pursuit, Sword Dance, Reckless, Cause Acupuncture of Life. Close Black Lens Bracket. Prop, Focus Mirror. Status, Perfect. Law Comprehension, Insect 1%. Introduction. One of the candidates for the Insect King of the Joban Forest, experienced in hundreds of battles, the absolute ace of Sakagi. A quasi-god ranked Hornby. At this level, Bai Zi was not surprised. Word, Insect King candidate, that reappeared in the introduction column of this giant stinger. Looks like, after dealing with tonight's affairs and going to the Alliance headquarters in Quartz Plateau to collect the rewards, it's time to go to the hinterland of the Viking Forest to find out. Thoughts flashed in Bai Zi's mind. He has a strong intuition. Perhaps one of the most core strengths of the future giant stinger, who killed the gods in the sea at the beginning, will be officially acquired during the trip to the Everpin Forest. After all, he has never forgotten that the big needle bee in the future time limit battle card state is like a big destruction, and will be no less than the top legendary Diahero. Chia's life-threatening strike that instantly wiped out the gods. Quote. Ace, it's you. Sakagi spoke slowly. Although it was a question, his tone seemed to confirm his guess. Even in the face of the top legend and the messenger bird who easily defeated the superior legend Reshiram, Sakagi still maintained his demeanor without any cowardice. Baizi shrugged, acquiescing. The atmosphere suddenly became condensed again. At this moment, Qinglu's voice came from not far away. Baizi, leave this guy to me and Crimson. The brown-haired, spiky-haired boy jumped down from the back of Beagle with a complicated look. A little waste. Roar tilde. In the dull roar, Bangira's heavily armored tyrannosaur-like armored body suddenly appeared in front of him. On one side, Crimson, who said nothing, rode on a fire-breathing dragon and landed on the other side, and surrounded Sakagi in a pincer angle with Qinglu. The two of them had already arrived. But whether it's Baizi's black flashing Lycong's eye, or the powerful ghost-like messenger bird from the mysterious man on the opposite side, neither of them can deal with it. To be frank, this kind of gap is like a moat. If the green and red are not tough enough, I am afraid that the doubts who have been hit long ago will be life. It was clearly an evenly matched rival before, but in a blink of an eye, he couldn't even see his back. Fortunately, Sakagi appeared. Although the aura of this giant stinger was stronger than ever before, it still didn't have the powerlessness that Lycong's eye and the messenger bird brought them. It's just right, just use this guy to vent that suffocating feeling of powerlessness. The idea of Cyan and Crimson popped up in their minds almost at the same time. In an instant, the green and red eyes suddenly turned sinister. Sakagi naturally did not know that the leader of his dignified dark organization had become a punching bag for others. The first time he was surrounded by the two trainers who had to call him freak in the past. In addition to vigilance in Sakagi's heart. More. Instead, he breathed a sigh of relief. Facing the top legends and the monster in the skin of a messenger bird, although Sakagi's heart is not afraid, it must be a lie to say that he is not nervous. And now, although the two boys in front of them are equally difficult to deal with, they are much better than facing Baizi and that mysterious person directly. And just in this very short slack, kills IJ that rock seal. Accompanied by the cold drink, the rock blockade that fell down from the sky was like a rain of arrows. Almost at the same time, it quickly attacked the near dragon shadow and spread its wings towards the direction of Banmu and the giant needlebee. Chopping and coming, wing attack. This is so. Sakagi immediately shrank his eyes, cursed secretly, and rolled towards a stone wall on the edge of the cliff almost without thinking. Big needlebee, double needle. The battle between Qinglu, Crimson, and Sakagi became intensified almost immediately. But the battlefield is also under the intentional guidance of Sakagi, and the distance from the landing pad in the back mountain is getting farther and farther. On the other side, 2Z was still trying to thaw the frozen white dragon Reshiram. Obviously, the extremely cold ice that even Reshiram couldn't break free. Obviously it's not that Tuko's hands can melt. However, Baizi could feel that Reshiram's aura was only slightly 4.3, showing signs of sluggishness, and his vitality was still strong, which was obviously not a serious problem. At this time, his main attention was focused on Lu Bo's messenger bird and the masked man made by the other party. To be frank, at this time, Uncle Lu didn't look like a guy who was approaching his goal and was desperate for it. On the contrary, he acted calmly, without any sense of urgency. Even, it is enough to be called leisurely. In the end he, looking at the masked man who was standing still behind the messenger bird, just confronting himself, but had no intention of taking the initiative to attack. Baizi, his eyes narrowed slightly. 455. Tilt scales, Baizi's enlightenment. Please complete the order. Boy, didn't that guy Damu teach you? At this moment, Lu Bo's hoarse voice sounded again. Don't be on the battlefield, just wondering about the truth. The voice fell. Call, _. Ling Lai's cold storm and snow suddenly made the bird's wings condense and rise, and in an instant, it turned into a white stream, and whistled towards Baizi. Skill, blizzard. Click, click. The extreme low temperature caused the water vapor in the air near the back mountain to condense quickly, like a white fog curtain. The sky, a galaxy, hung straight down, and in the blink of an eye, it rushed to the front of Baizi. But the next second, whoosh _ the bright green arrow fell like a meteor, slicing down from mid-air at extreme speed, stirring the air at extreme high speed to form circles of vacuum waves, which immediately hit the incoming blizzard. Scattered. Skills, super speed. Subsequently, the winding dragon body slowly circled not far from Baizi's body. So what? Baizi shrugged slightly, stretched out his hand and tidied up his cuffs. With just one messenger bird, are you sure you can take the legendary feather from me? Baizi's implication was obvious. He didn't think Lubo could hold the wings of Ho-Wang and Lugia from himself with a messenger bird. He admits. This messenger bird is indeed as strong as a ghost. It has the body of an ordinary elf, but it has realized the power of handed-down power that most top legends have not touched. As the true dragon god of high-ranking legends, the white dragon Reshiram played the game with his superior attributes, but he lost without any resistance. However, in terms of combat power alone, although his own black flashing empty seat has not yet involved the power of the creation field level, but with the help of the ability of God's reward for diligence, relying on Dialga's tenacious battle contribution. At this time, Black Flash Lai Kong's combat power is no less than that of himself in the 1/6 period of the theatrical version. The combat power has steadily covered the top legend line. Extremely cold, ice of the messenger bird has a lot to suppress the energy level of Lai Kong's eye, but if it really wants to fight, it is still his side that has a better chance of winning. What's more, he is not the only one with the top legendary level combat power. And with Baizi's voice falling. Click tilde. In an instant, a black and yellow luxurious ball appeared out of thin air from the side of Tuzi, with a crisp sound, and in the white light, a huge wind speed dog suddenly burst out. With a long kiss, he grabbed Toko's waistcoat and swung it. Tuzi immediately landed on the wind speed dog's back. There was an exclamation. At the same time, the layers of flames turned into twisted ropes, rolling up the ice cubes that were still trying to thaw the frozen elves and Reshiram, and ran towards the distance. The Iceman controlled by Lubo vividly glanced in the direction of the wind speed dog. Afterwards, he turned his head, and his hoarse voice revealed again, "Can you get it? If you try it, you will know. Now that everyone is almost clear, let's officially start." Swoosh swish. As soon as the voice fell, countless icicles condensed out of thin air, and the messenger bird waved its wings and shot towards Baizi like a gust of wind and rain. Baizi frowned slightly. Tornado. Roar tilde. Haishan Likong's slender dragon body swayed, and the surging dragon energy factor swept up, turning it into a tornado barrier, incorporating all the incoming ice picks into the storm. The strong wind pressure rolled and shattered all the ice picks, but the amazing chill contained in the ice picks completely frozen the tornado in an instant. Next second, Doda's hail fell from the sky, and the range was so wide that it almost completely covered the entire back mountain. Weather skills, hail. Say it's the weather. But such a large hailstone may not be very comfortable to hit him. Not to mention, with the lessons learned from the previous ice pick skill, who knows if the same amazing cold is lurking in these hail. So the best way to. Baizi's eyes flashed, and telepathy was instantly transmitted. Next moment. Roar tilde. Accompanied by the bright dragon's roar, the storm swept through his body, rushing up towards the sky, breaking through the layers of bursting cold flowers, and sitting in the dragon's body. In an instant, the stratus clouds in the sky seemed to be affected, turning into a turbulent and frantic airflow, forming a huge void that swept and rotated. Just like the eye of the sky, the hailstorm weather is instantly wiped out. This is the exclusive feature of Lai Kongzai's super evolution, the delta airflow. Its function is to cover and eliminate all other weather, forcing the weather into turbulent flow. The land of the end, and sea of origin, that the original returning Groudon and Kyogre have, the turbulent flow, cannot be changed. Also, under the turbulent weather, the weak points of the flight system of the Ryakuza clan will disappear. That is to say, under the 373 chi of the turbulent day, the messenger bird that mainly attacks the ice element will greatly weaken the blow to the Black Flash. The balance tilted to Bai Zi again. But faced with this, Lu Bo's attitude is still intriguingly calm, but he just jumped up and stayed in the air for a short time with the help of the strong ice attribute energy factor. The messenger bird, which had temporarily liberated its mobility, suddenly shook its wings, and the cold wind and blizzard alternated, turning into a substantial cold wave, sweeping towards Bai Zi. Composite skills, frozen wind plus blizzard. Bai Zi's eyes narrowed slightly. This time, he finally understood that Lu Bo's attack was not so much aimed at Lai Kongzai, but rather used himself to contain Lai Kongzai. Contain. At this moment, Bai Zi's mind flashed like lightning. He suddenly raised his head in the cold wind and snow foam that was blown away by Lai Kongzai again, staring at Iceman's mask. Your body should be doing more important things at this time. Right. Lu Bo. Word by word. 456. A sudden blow, the real purpose. For a long time, with the advantage of foresight, coupled with Shaolin's several impressions, Bai Zi subconsciously directed Lu Bo's goal to the hidden treasure in his hand. Hidden on the sleeves of Ho-Oh's rainbow feather, and sea god Lugia's silver feather. But actually, Lu Bo has always prayed for his beloved Laplace. He wants to travel through time, go back to the past, and save Laplace's parents who died in the accident. To do this, one must capture time, that is, Shirabi, the phantom elf who threw Bai Zi into a different time and space. But when he wants to manipulate, the rabbi can accurately pass through the narrows of time, to reach the time stream he wants to go, and will not be imprisoned by the time force in the narrows of time. It is necessary to have GS balls made from Ho-Oh's rainbow feather, and sea god Lugia's silver feather. Therefore, after all, the two legendary feathers in his hands are a very important part of them. But not indispensable. After all, Ho-Oh and Lugia are so big, I really want them, so I'd like to add a few more. Not to mention, in this comprehensive worldview, Lu Bo has more choices. Because whether according to the game or the animation, things like GS balls exist in themselves. GS ball in the anime. Because of the underwear that appeared in the Orange League chapter. Ahem, Dr. Uemu's stunning swimsuit and white coat appeared, which impressed Bai Zi. Bai Zi still remembers that Dr. Nemu is mainly good at studying the regional morphological changes of elves, and he and Dr. Ogi are old friends for many years. Moreover, the GS ball in the anime TV was discovered by Dr. Uchigi. As far as Bai Zi knows. During the research process, the elf doctors of the Alliance will generally file their subjects on the Alliance's intranet. And Lu Bo is one of the museum owners of the Chengdu Alliance. Old man again. Whether it is identity or personal connections, except for some necessary secrets, most of the information may not be hidden from him. Estimated according to the time in the anime. At this time, I'm afraid the GS ball has been in the hands of Dr. Uchiki for some time. In other words, the two legendary feathers in his hands are no longer necessary for Uncle Lu. Even Bai Zi doubted. Lu Bo just got this information recently, so he changed his plan. But, since the legendary feather in his hand is no longer necessary for Uncle Lu, why did Uncle Lu come to the door? This is raking grass to beat rabbits, want to catch two. But not like. Lu Bo's attitude is clearly because after confirming his own combat strength, he can't do anything, but he still intends to temporarily restrain his actions. But how far is the Orange Islands thousands of miles away from the Silver Mountains? Even if you want to rush over, it's not something you can do in a short time. Is it really necessary to spend so much time to contain a battle force that is bound to be unreachable? Bai Zeshan. Puzzled. But Bai Zi's words seemed to touch Uncle Lu's sensitive point. Aurora Beam Tilde. With a hoarse cold drink, the ice body made by Lubo suddenly burst out of thin air. An astonishing chill spread from the shattered body. And then, goo! The open beak of the messenger bird sucked in all the cold air around it like a black hole, and condensed it into a bright white beam that spewed out in the direction of Bai Zi. Aurora Beam. The beam of astonishing chill freezes everything along the way and expands continuously. When it was close to Bai Zi and Lai Kong, it had already turned into a huge beam of light with a diameter of tens of meters. Oncoming. It's like a group of circular ice walls are pushed and crushed. ... It looks like I got it right. Bai Zi pondered in his heart, but he didn't have time to think about it. He quickly ordered without hesitation, the dragon dance of the reverse scale top spindle. The finishing touch. Roar tilde. The passionate and tyrannical sound of the dragon's roar shocked the mountains and forests, and the split air seat in midair suddenly swung the dragon's tail, borrowing power out of thin air. In an instant, his body twisted like a spinning top, turning into a tornado-like light arrow that pierced through the air. At the same time, the red fog-like halo around the body also slowly surrounds. Inverse scales plus Euro ball plus dragon dance plus finishing touch. Under the blessing of the three skills, it seems to gallop past like a meteor. Lai Kong, who pulled out a long bright green phantom in midair, sat upright and slammed into the oncoming Aurora pillar. Boom! The finishing touch of the rotating arrow collided with the huge beam that seemed to pierce the mountain, and the dull impact sounded suddenly. What followed closely was a shock wave of terrifying energy that oscillated at the center of the confrontation between the two. Stratus fluctuates, the ground collapses. The entire Baiyan Mountains was stunned by the aftermath, like the epicenter of a magnitude 10 earthquake. In the air, circle after circle of annular air waves spread rapidly, turning into substantial air waves, smashing everything that stretched past. Fortunately, the experienced Bai Zi released the sound in the secret ball as soon as possible. Possessing the support of the sound, these strong aftermaths, which shaved off several layers of the nearby mountains, did not affect Bai Zi in the pink fluorescent shield at all. And this moment, on the field, the center of the confrontation between Black Flash and the Aurora Beam of the messenger bird. Stab, underscore. Accompanied by the sharp sound of gold and iron grinding, the black and red electric lights generated by the collision of energy constantly rose in the void, and continued to wrap around the swirling dragon body of black lightning Lai Kong, Hao Jiao Hao. Moment. It's like reaching a certain tipping point. Yoo-hoo. The speed of the black flash and the empty seat suddenly increased several times, and the air mass like blood mist appeared around the body. Next second light. Click, underscore. With a light sound, I saw a black sturdy seat surrounded by blood mist, and with an extremely tough posture, he cut open the beam of light that had gradually swelled to the size of a mountain, and straightened from it. Passed through the body of the messenger bird in an instant. Then, boom 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 boom. The explosive flames that nearly illuminated the entire Silver Mountain range roared in the air. But vaguely, Bai Zi also seemed to feel the astonishing energy level that suddenly rose up almost at the same time in the east not far from the Silver Mountain range. 457. The finishing touch that cuts through the sky, use the replica card. At the same time, located at the junction of Guan and Du, and separated from the Baiyan Mountains by a hidden mountain road of only a dozen miles, it is on the Quartz Plateau. It is located in the Alliance headquarters in the central area. At this moment, it is full of frost. You bastard, who the hell are you? Before the Alliance vault, a sturdy middle-aged man with dark skin and a scarred face with half of his body frozen, held up his consciousness and faced the masked man in front of him, covering his entire body. The mysterious man in the black robe asked. Just 10 minutes ago. This unusually tall masked man broke into the gate of the Alliance headquarters on the Quartz Plateau alone. Rock, team led by himself, and 2 other teams, a total of 3 teams whose average level is the quasi-celestial king, and the positive and negative captains are all Alliance, absolute power, above the level of the heavenly king. In front of this mysterious man, it's basically no different from the paper paste. Instant collapse. And they didn't even see each other's spirits the whole time. I only know that it is probably the ice type. The cold wind blowing under the wide black robe has amazing erosion characteristics. During this period, no matter what skills, rocks, light cannons and even flames, the moment 373 touches the cold current, it is like touching flames. The cotton ball was completely eroded away in a flash, and not even the slag was left. If it weren't for this mysterious man, it seemed that he had no intention of killing. I am afraid that the life of the entire Alliance headquarters is not frozen, but like those skills, it is completely integrated into this cold current. But who is this person? Although he is not a world-famous top trainer. But as one of the Alliance's armed heritage, its strength is only weaker than that of the 4, King of Heaven, in the headquarters, but they are actually champions. A proper peak heavenly king level. Such a self, plus 2 colleagues who are not much weaker than himself, and 3 deputies who are also heavenly kings, and 3 full-sized special teams with a total number of 150 people. With such combat power, Doug has the confidence to stop even Longshadu, who is known to be invincible in the world. But in the face of this mysterious man, he couldn't even complete effective resistance. Who is it? Or, CFED. Under this black robe, there is no human at all. Doug, the captain of the Rock special team, stared at the masked man who was gradually approaching, but the other party didn't even pay any attention to him. Straight past him. Stepping into the Yaoshi gate that was cracked by the frost, completely ignoring the various attribute props and treasures that were worth thousands of dollars in the secret vault, and came to a row of brackets in the corner with a clear goal. From the groove on the second layer, a golden and white elf ball was taken. Then he threw the black robe. He strode out of the vault and quickly disappeared from Doug's sight. The Alliance headquarters, which had turned into a frost, fell into silence again. And Doug couldn't hold on any longer. Under the erosion of the cold, he finally fell into a coma. On the other side, the Silver Mountains. Baizi stared at the same extremely cold, but slightly different direction from the messenger bird's ice-type energy level. His eyes narrowed. That place is where the headquarters of the Alliance is located. Quartz Plateau. And right now. The bloody messenger bird that was drilled on the waist struggled to fly again. Its breath was disordered, and it was obvious that it was not lightly injured by this blow. A little blood dripped. But it was soon covered by the rising frost and sealed. And followed. A layer of blue flame was formed, wrapping the whole body of the messenger bird, and rushing towards Baizi again. The breath did not weaken at all, but the slightly panting Heishan Likong immediately twisted his body, and the slender dragon tail broke through the layers of air explosions and went head-on. Move, wide area destruction. But in the next instant, the flames above the messenger bird's wings suddenly soared, and it was dangerously avoiding the dragon's tail sitting in the air, like wings hanging down from the sky, rushing straight into the sky for 9 days. Move, Yan Wei. Want to run. Baizi could see the messenger bird's plan at a glance. Combined with the sudden rise of energy level before, it is not difficult to guess that Lu Bo's body is likely to have obtained him at the Alliance headquarters. Want something. It was put together. Looking at the messenger bird that was gradually flying high and broke into the clouds in an instant, a peaceful smile appeared on Baizi's face. Although he doesn't necessarily have to fight with Uncle Lu to the end, but if he wants to leave so easily. If he really thinks he is the road in the early morning, just think about it. Sit in the air. The scorching white thoughts flashed in his eyes, and the mind that surpassed everything was immediately linked to Haishan Lai Kongzai's heart, and the invisible power of faith blessed Lai Kongzai's body. Wu. _ The tyrannical dragon's roar resounded through the sky instantly, and the black dragon, slowly, meandered in the air like a taut rubber band. Then, chew! The void exploded in an instant, and the black flash of the sky that accompanied it sat under the blessing of divine speed, turning into a bright green streamer to cut through the night sky, dividing the dark sky into only two. The finishing touch. Goo! Amidst the faint screams of pain, the messenger bird fell from midair. Uncle Lu, who came over, saw exactly this scene. You command Lai Kongzai to defeat Lu Bo's messenger bird. You have a little gain. Battle experience plus 100, skill proficiency is greatly increased, and you get ice law fragments x10. Note: fragments of ice laws and strengthening elves. Understanding of ice laws have no side effects. The system beep sounded. This time, the things obtained are completely different from the past, without experience points, but they are directly given, law fragments, which have no side effects, and can directly strengthen the elves' understanding of their attribute laws. Then comprehend the fantastic. Immediately, Baizi's idea that had not been clear before suddenly came to a decision. Immediately, with a thought, he extracted the replica card, obtained from the championship reward from the system, aimed at the messenger bird that fell in the air, and simply said, quote, use 458, hang up. Add some dark blue, the power of extreme cold. The target is determined. The messenger bird, please confirm the recipient of the engraving. Laplace. As the system's prompt sounded again, Baizi glanced at the illusory card in his hand that seemed to wrap all the pictures and texts, and made a choice without any hesitation. All the time. Although he is also one of the 6 main trump cards identified by Baizi, Laplace is indeed dwarfed by the others. The giant needlebee has swallowed the Insect King crystal, and has the exclusive characteristic, Mind Eyes, as well as the exclusive characteristic, Gauntlet, that is both offensive and defensive, and the Extinction Needle, that kills with one blow, one of the candidates for the Viking Insect King, with the deterrent power of commanding insect swarms. Zoroark, who has swallowed the crystals of the law left by the fall of the Devil of the Sea, Lugia, has been promoted to the champion rank, and has already advanced to 89% of the law of evil, and is infinitely close to a first-level god. Wind Speed Dog fuses the indestructible flame, which is the same source as Ho-Oh, and transforms it into a characteristic, and acquires the exclusive skills of Burning Flame Shock, and Junion, which are both near and far. With the Blazing Sun mode, that increases combat power, and the authority of Burning, the road to the realm of the gods is almost smooth. Shenduo perfectly integrated the genetic sequences of Mewtwo and Dream with the help of Baizi during the Loloris period, inheriting the superior race values and exclusive skills of both sides, and using the help of Baizi. The evolutionary power, obtained from Shaolin, awakened the ultimate power of super evolution, with 2 super evolutionary forms of X and Y. In the end, there is the giant golden monster, the natural king of the race itself, and the specialization of the bright god, Necrozma, who has merged the personality of the ultimate world creation god twice in succession. Attributes and skills, strong in nature, are enough to defend against quasi-gods in the first-order champion position. Although Laplace also used the blood of laws of the giant fast dragon to become the first existence in the main force to comprehend the law, he also swallowed a lot of heaven, earth treasures in the journey to find Baizi. But, compared with the gorgeous attribute panels of several other companions, it seems to be very missed, even miserable. Same. It is precisely because of the gap between the adventures that although Laplace has been chasing desperately, he can only barely stay behind. And predictably, further back. It is very likely that Laplace, who has insufficient background, will be more and more separated by other partners. Until, completely thrown away. All of these. Baizi saw it in his eyes and knew it well. For most people, fortuitous encounters may depend entirely on luck, but for Baizi, who has 2 top legendary battle powers, it is not impossible to achieve artificially. His original plan was to find time to visit the God of Ice, frozen bird among the 3 god birds located in the Orange Islands. After all, he still has the protection of the sacred bird protector. Not really. I went to the Hajong area to look for Kiram who might live in the Cave of the Giants. I believe that there is a black flash and a king sound on the side, and it should give itself this face. And now, the appearance of the reissue card and the messenger bird have brought Baizi a new way of thinking. Both are ice elements. As long as they can successfully obtain a scale and half a claw from the messenger bird, it is enough for Laplace to suffer. Use. It doesn't matter if you fail miserably. Fangkai. After glittering Lai Kongzai defeated the messenger bird, a new reward for reward, ice element law fragments was created. To know. In God's domain, it's not that Baizi has never fought, or even achieved God killing. But this, law fragment, reward is the first time he has brushed it. Baizi guessed that this is most likely because the messenger bird has already advanced the understanding of the law to the field of creation because of the power of power. In this way, treasure box bosses for Laplace. Baizi can completely brush law fragments repeatedly, and then feed it to Laplace. As such, relying on the feeding of dark blue plus points and general law fragments, Laplace may not be able to become the first existence in the main hand to achieve 100% law comprehension. Baizi's heart was full of enjoyment, and at the same moment when he discovered Uncle Lu's arrival, a fiery emotion called desire immediately rose in his eyes. Ask for flowers. Immediately, Lu Bo looked at him tightly. At this moment, the replica card also came into effect under the action of the system. The recipient is confirmed, Laplace. Next second, replica card in Baizi's hand disappeared instantly, and the system prompt sounded again one by one. Ding, target selection completed. Open black lens bracket in the list of abilities. Close black lens bracket. List complete. Random selection starts. Open black lens bracket extraction completed. Close black lens bracket. Laplace successfully extracts the power of the messenger bird. The extreme cold. Looking at the ability finally selected in the system list, Baizi was stunned for a moment. Then, only the word lightly remained. Quote. Fuck. He has thought that if he is lucky, he will draw some laws and even energy levels of the messenger bird, or if he is unlucky, he will draw a certain skill or even an empty cannon. But he didn't expect that he and Laplace were so lucky. In one wave, he directly brought the most valuable thing on the messenger bird to the level of power in the creation field. Jihan got it. And at the moment when the system sound fell, Wu tilde. One of the elf balls on Baizi's waist opened automatically, and was released from it when Lepraston. After being caught by Baizi's thought force, he tilted his head in confusion. Next second, the dazzling light suddenly formed out of thin air from the position where the replica card disappeared, turning into a chain and connecting it under Laplace's neck. Baizi guessed that this should be the manifestation of the re-engraved card, taking effect, and hurriedly made a sound of comfort. And then, la chain that linked Laplace also quickly extended, connecting towards the messenger bird that fell in midair. Hiding inside the Iceman, Uncle Lu, who had finally recovered from his senses, shrank his eyes when he saw this. Next second, call, along with the galloping red storage ray, a near-substantial cold wind also spewed out of the black robe in an instant. Begging. 459. Mutation of power, proud of the first. Sit Lai Kong, stop. Seeing this, Baizi drank lightly. Although he doesn't know whether the operation of the system will be affected by foreign objects, but it is about Laplace and a creation-level power, extreme cold, he naturally does not dare to have the slightest careless. The voice fell. Immediately. Roar tilde. Accompanied by the long roar of the dragon, the black flash and the fierce air crashed into the air, and the last one made a cut in the cold current. Skills one by one, air slash. Sip sip. The dull explosions resounded one after another, and due to the blocking of the air blade produced by the air slash, the turbulent cold current suddenly stopped, and the turbulent energy explosion was also immediately contained and shot. Line blocking. You. An old voice suddenly came from under the wide robe, 373, and in anxiety, Uncle Lu couldn't even control his voice. On Baizi's side, King Shang walked out slowly with graceful steps, and he sat in the corner of the chair with the winding He Shan Lai Kong and surrounded Lu Bo in the middle. Uncle Lu. Baizi's tone was calm and peaceful. Please be patient. When this is all over, I will let you take the messenger bird. I hope that in the process, we can manage to avoid conflict. Otherwise. He didn't finish his words, but as his words were slowly uttered, a different kind of breath suddenly rose. In an instant, the bright phantom of Bright King Sword reappeared. In the light, King Shang turned into the form of the King of Swords, as if cutting through the void, the sharp aura that annihilated everything, and Long Wei, who was sitting in the sky with Haishan Lai Kong, blocked Lu Bo in the ice doll. In place. Quote. Uncle Lu's pupils shook violently. Two strong breaths, definitely the existence of the best in the top legends. To be frank, this level of deterrence, with his current combat power, really does not dare to act rashly. And many more. What did he call me just now? Uncle Lu. You, how did you know? Lu Bo couldn't help but asked. Facing Lu Bo's questioning, Baizi didn't mean to answer at all, but stared at the messenger bird and Laplace who were gradually connected to each other by chains in the field and pulled into the air. At this moment, the chain was surging like a straw, and the dark blue luster was continuously extracted from the messenger bird and poured into Laplace's body. Baizi's face gradually became weird. Re-engraving, please be patient. Close black lens bracket. Ding! The extreme cold power re-engraving is completed. Start loading. Loading. Laplace resisted strongly, intending to change the extreme cold ability. Ding! The law is not understood enough. It cannot be changed. Failed to load. Ding! Forced loading may hurt the origin of Laplace. Take the second set of plans and cooperate with the changes. Open black lens bracket. The power of power is being replaced. Close black lens bracket. The replacement is completed, and the power of power is obtained. Freeze. Open black lens bracket. Loading again. Please wait. Close black lens bracket. Loading completed. Is it done? Looking at Laplace, who slowly fell to the ground and gradually revealed his figure from the fading light, Baizi breathed a sigh of relief. Just now, Baizi was taken aback by the little guy Laplace. He could probably guess that Laplace was preparing to use other people's things as his own, just like he wanted to accept the blood of law before. But that blood of law is just a very small part of the law aggregation of the giant fast dragon, the tripolar god. This messenger bird is the power of creation level power. This guy is too bold. Don't use anything that has been marked by others. Mad, in terms of inner pride, Baizi would like to call Laplace number 1. Fortunately, the system is really powerful enough. Don't you like it? Then replace it with a new one directly according to your wishes. Tisk tisk tisk, atmosphere. Baizi nodded in his heart. And at the same time, Lu Bo also took advantage of the situation to take back the messenger bird. When he faked the detection, a rather violent thick ice mist suddenly erupted around him. These ice fogs seemed to carry strong erosiveness, and the nearby vegetation, soil and even the air melted away at the moment of contact. What a weird ice element. Baizi couldn't help but look sideways, and was amazed. And at the same time, when the ice fog rose, a lightsaber and a dragon-shaped energy shot out from King Shang and Haishan Li Kong's mouths, instantly rushing into the ice fog. Then, accompanied by a violent explosion of energy, the smoke and the impact came one after another, causing Baizi to wave his hand and put down the psychic shield to cover it up. After a while, the smoke screen dissipated. In the middle of the sunken ground where the top of the mountain was cut off by the bombardment, a deep hole was revealed in the eyes of one person and two pets. "Are you digging a hole?" Baizi touched his chin, and when he saw that Haishan Likong was looking like he wanted to add more, he hurriedly stopped and said, "Okay, there's no need to chase. Anyway, if you can run, the monk can't run away from the temple." The comparison of Uncle Lu's combat power with his own is clear. In Baizi's mind, Uncle Lu is the best refresh point for law fragments. There is no need to push too hard. Humph tilde. A cold voice came from his ears, and then, Haishan Likong, who was unwilling and didn't seem to feel relieved, sat in the air and circled in a circle, and even shot in the direction of Baizi. Whoosh _. The gust of wind approached him, and Baizi narrowed his eyes slightly, but he didn't have any fear. Next moment, he felt the starry sky ball around his waist tremble slightly. Obviously, Haishan Likong 4.3 had returned to the Pokeball on his own accord. This guy. Baizi didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Kang Xiang is no longer so petty as Haishan Likong sits, and after quietly exiting the form of the King of Swords, he leaps forward with an elegant pace, nodding slightly to Baizi. "It's hard work." Baizi responded with a smile, took out the secret ball, and tapped Kang Zhang's forehead lightly. White light flashes. Kang's sound disappeared in place. And just when Baizi took back the secret ball and was about to check Laplace's data panel. Feng Feng. The sound of the galloping breaking wind resounded again, quickly coming from far to near, towards the direction of Baizi. 460. The Furious Yulongdu. What happened? Please complete the order. Under the spirit vision, it was obvious that the person who came was not concealed from Baizi. Therefore, he didn't turn around in a hurry, but put his eyes on Laplace and caressed the big head that the little guy rubbed into his arms. In the eyes, the unseen ambilight suddenly flickered one by one. Race, Laplace riding the dragon. Attribute, water ice. Characteristic, water storage, hard shell armor. Level, champion beginner, level 70, 60/100ths. Potential, champion. HP, 142, 130, attack, 85, defense, 80, special attack, 185, special defense, 95, speed, 70, 60. Skills, singing, screaming, water gun, white fog, life droplets, boulders, strange light, water fluctuations, rain, song of death, frozen beam, salt water, waterfall climbing. Genetic skills, cold and dry, ground crack. Prop, Heart of Ice Soul, greatly enhances the power of ice attribute moves. Open black lens bracket status, perfect close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket law of comprehension, ice element 1% close black lens bracket. Authority, freeze creation domain level. In the seal, it can only be unlocked after the comprehension of the law of the ice system reaches 100%. 25. Introduction. Laplace, with extraordinary aptitude, has excellent ice attribute manipulation ability. The special living environment has created his transcendent character, tenacity, tolerance and tolerance. The data changes on Laplace brought by the freeze, the power at the creation level, are almost nothing. Racial values, traits, skills, qualifications, etc. All is always. No change. Even the creation level power of freeze itself is under seal due to the limitation of law comprehension. Katakana middle ... But Baizi is very clear that he has the power of freeze, and Lubo, a living law fragment, has a leveling point. Don't say anything else. Just by comprehending the law, Laplace is equivalent to getting on the train that goes directly to the realm of creation. As long as Uncle Lu can hold on to it, Baizi can completely create an owner in a short period of time. A spirit with full power in the field of creation. This is resolved. Baizi only needs to train and fight with Laplace step by step. With the blessing of God's reward, the future road is almost smooth. As for the qualifications, in the realm of 100% law comprehension, aptitude is probably no longer the shackle that restricts Laplace. This point is enough to draw from the messenger bird. Satisfied. Baizi also followed Laplace by applying the 10, comprehension of the law, to Laplace. Wu tilde. With a soft moan, Laplace narrowed his eyes comfortably. Law fragment, a human body. Under the invisible effect of the freeze power, it was quickly transformed into an understanding of the laws of ice. On the data interface of the system, the data in the column of Laplace's law of comprehension suddenly flashed from 1%, 1.01%, 1.02%. In the blink of an eye. It finally settled at 2%. So, 10 pieces of the law can increase the level of understanding of the law by 1%. Baizi touched his chin. I just don't know whether the consumption of this law fragment is a complete directional ratio, or a linear or even exponential growth consumption. While pondering, a familiar voice came from behind. Baizi. Wind pressure from top to bottom. Baizi immediately turned to look, and what caught his eye was a young man with blood-red hair, wearing a blue slim-fitting dress with a blood-red lined black cloak. It is Yulongdu. But at the moment, Yulongdu's handsome face with sharp edges and corners as sharp as a knife has long disappeared, and the usual indifferent arrogance has long been lost. At this moment, the man standing at the apex of Guandu is on the verge of rage. Wu tilde. Laplace was subconsciously vigilant. Seeing this, Yulongdu quickly restrained the overflowing breath, jumped from behind Kuailong, and said apologetically, I'm sorry, I didn't control my breath. It doesn't matter. Baizi shook his head. He could feel Yulongdu's sincerity, especially when the apology was not only directed to himself, but also to Laplace. Even Baizi has to admit that the uncrowned king of the Guandu alliance has the bearing and charm. Right. Baizi swept his gaze across the body of the fast dragon beside Yulongdu. His eyes flickered slightly, and then he looked at Yulongdu, and asked. What happened to the champion? Yulongdu is also the king of Kanto and the champion of the level, so it is reasonable to call him the king or the champion. But under normal circumstances, most people basically call Du a champion to show respect. After all, in terms of competence as a champion, Yulongdu is perfect. Since taking office, he has devoted himself to fighting criminals and strengthening the protection of elves. Top surface. It can be said that, apart from a very small amount of free time, Yulongdu is either working or on the way to work. In comparison, the mining champions, beauty pageant champions, star champion 373, etc. In other regions, it is not too dedicated. From the performance of the small details just now, Baizi already has a lot of goodwill in his heart for this imperial dragon envoy who has only met once. And with the question of Baizi asked the exit. Yulongdu's face was almost gloomy to the naked eye. Quite a while. After pondering for a while, Yulongdu decided to tell the truth. On the one hand, he recognized Baizi's strength. On the other hand, judging from the mess and frost here in the Silver Mountains, it is very likely that the mysterious man who attacked the Alliance headquarters also came here. So, was he repelled by this kid or? As soon as his thoughts changed, Yulongdu also said in a deep voice, not long ago, the Alliance headquarters on the Quartz Plateau was attacked and breached. The person here is unknown, the elves are unknown. Purpose. It is stored in the secret vault of the Alliance headquarters, an unknown Pokeball that was delivered this morning from the Dr. Nemu Research Institute in the Orange Islands. Sure enough. Baizi's eyes flashed.